Anime-style card design. This video is purely for entertainment and does not infringe on copyrights or laws. The rights to the novel and image belong to the original author. We do not claim ownership. Don't like waiting and want to listen to this fanfic in full now? Subscribe to our Patreon, where you'll find the best fanfics. Chapter 101, Captain of the 4th Division Hanaritsu. This is it. Looking at the building in front of him, Russell muttered to himself while comparing it with the address sent by Mr. Wang on his phone. He originally thought that Mr. Wang was a self-employed person, but now it seems that he is not. After all, who would rent such a large commercial office building? But think about it, his senior sister is a diamond-level card maker, and the people she knows must not be simple people. Walking into the building, the receptionist saw Russell and immediately showed a professional fake smile on her face. "Hello, sir. Welcome to Nandu Material Wholesale Company, Limited. Do you have an appointment?" If it were a normal person, the receptionist's attitude would definitely not be so good. But she saw clearly that Russell just landed at the door of the building riding on the arrogant symbiote. Although the symbiote itself is neither good nor evil, it does not look like a good person. Hearing the receptionist's question, Russell said directly, "Appointment. I'll find your Mr. Wang. Just tell him that Russell is here." Since Mr. Wang asked him to come here to find him, he must have told the people below. Sure enough, the receptionist was stunned when she heard Luo Su's name, but she reacted immediately. "Boss Wang has already told us that when you arrive, Mr. Luo, just go to the top floor to find him. I'll take you up now." Under the guidance of the receptionist, Luo Su came to the top floor. "Boss Wang, Mr. Luo is here." A respectful voice sounded in the spacious office. "Well, you go down first." Hearing this, the receptionist bowed and left the office. Luo Su had time to look at this so-called Boss Wang. He saw a fat figure filing the entire boss chair. It was the first time that Luo Su had seen such a sturdy figure. "You are the new disciple of Master Bai. You are really a handsome man." A smiling voice came. "My name is Wang Tang. You can just call me Uncle Wang." Luo Su shook his head slightly. "It's just the teacher's appreciation. As for Uncle Wang, forget it. After all, the other party is obviously the same generation as his senior sister. Calling Uncle Wang doesn't mean he's a generation younger for nothing." After a moment of silence, Russell decided to get straight to the point. "Boss Wang, I'll trouble you this time." Boss Wang opened his narrow eyes, stared at Russell for a while, and then said, "You and your senior sister have quite different personalities." To be honest, the reason why Boss Wang could get close to Hu Tao was because she was not good at rejecting people. "There are not many people in this world who are as socially anxious as my senior sister," Russell complained silently in his heart. Seeing that Russell was silent, Wang Tang laughed dumbly. "Here are the materials." As he said that, he pushed an envelope across the table. Russell took out the water of the netherworld, gold, and 5 flavors bowl, gold, that he chose to trade and placed them on the table. Picking up the envelope, Russell took a quick look and pulled out a black gilded card from it. "Mr. Wang, what is this?" Wang Tang saw the card in Russell's hand and couldn't help explaining, "This is our group's black gold membership card. You can get the best reception in our store in the future." "Thank you, Mr. Wang." Russell was not polite and immediately accepted the membership card. "I wonder how much the handling fee is this time." Russell didn't think that the exchange of 2 materials was over. Wang Tang's current business was more like an intermediary, and there must be a handling fee. Usually it's a blue quality material of the same level, but since this is your first time here, classmate Luo, forget it this time. Just treat it as my gift to you. Russell couldn't help but fall into silence. Black, not just ordinary black. This is what he was thinking in his heart now. His handling fee this time was a silver level blue material, which might not be a big deal. But if it was a gold level, or even a diamond level like his senior sister, and it was traded through Wang Tang, the handling fee would be quite a lot. After taking a deep look at Wang Tang, Russell said, "Then I'd rather obey you than be respectful. Those who dare to do this kind of business are either strong or well-connected. Or both. I have something else to do, so I won't bother you anymore, Mr. Wang." Since the deal has been completed, Russell didn't plan to stay any longer. "Goodbye, classmate Luo." Watching Russell leave, Wang Tang touched his double chin and said, "Compared to his teacher's temper, this Russell is much easier to deal with. I just don't know if I can get him to the court." Standing outside the building, Russell couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. The materials are all collected, It's time to make the first silver level card. As Pidgeot appeared beside him, in the horrified eyes of passers-by, the black and red tentacles instantly connected them together. After the arrogant enhancement, Pidgeot's speed was much faster, and soon he carried Russell back home. At the desk, Russell looked at the material spread out in front of him. Should I add this? Two-faced man. Strictly speaking, Hanaritsu is not a two-faced person. When she was the captain of the 4th squad, she was more like a black-bellied person. Let's not add it. After thinking for a moment, Russell decided to save this material. 3 materials are the bottom line for making a creature card, and less is not enough. If you were to make a complete Hanaritsu directly, Russell would definitely throw it in to neutralize the conflict of life and death. However, since he is only making a weakened form at the moment, there is no need for this. Since he has made a choice, Russell no longer hesitated and drew a gentle woman with pigtails hanging on her chest on the card. Russell is going to make an attempt this time. Logically speaking, the story develops linearly. A character should become stronger and stronger according to normal development. But there are always some characters, perhaps because of injuries or because of old age and frailty, whose combat power will decline in the later stages of the story. What Russell wants to try is to first make a weakened version of the later stage of the story, and then reversely strengthen it. But it was not an attempt without basis. After all, Hanaritsu had already appeared in the story of Tsugikuni, and according to the card-making experience given to him by Yuming, it was clearly written that if the card made was an intersection with the existing card, the judgment of the new card would be much looser. Just like the ox head and horse face, the white impermanence and the black impermanence. At this moment, looking at the card of Tsugikuni shining in his mind, Russell took a deep breath and entered the mysterious space. Please start compiling your story. After experiencing a war with the Invisible Empire, Soul Society has rarely entered a peaceful period. Unfortunately, this is something that Hanaritsu, who enjoys fighting, is difficult to accept. Holding his breath, Russell wrote the above words. It's really possible. In Russell's opinion, Hanaritsu's strongest period in the original work must be the period when he fought against the Invisible Empire as the captain of the 11th Division. The later period as the captain of the 4th Division did not have such a strong sense of oppression. But Russell was not surprised. After all, it is very common to see a bad ending in various comics. After learning the way of Kado, Hanaritsu began to hunt down the gangsters in Rukwenge in order to enjoy more fun of fighting. And it was at this time that she heard that a new villain appeared in the West 80th District. His name is Tsukuni. Hanaritsu quickly found Tsukuni. Tsukuni has a strong talent for swordsmanship, especially strong. As the greatest villain in the history of Soul Society, she claims to have mastered all the styles and sword styles in the world, and named herself Yachiryu. But she was defeated by Yamamoto Genryusai and became the captain of the 11th Division of the 1st Groti 13. And now, Hanaritsu has seen a wandering soul whose swordsmanship talent may be comparable to that monster. Russell also tasted the sweetness. Although I don't know if I will make Old Man Yamamoto in the future, I'd better mention it first. Unfortunately, Tsukuni is too weak now. Feeling the weak spiritual pressure of Tsujigoku Yoriichi, Hanaritsu touched the tiny bloodstain on his cheek and said to him, "If you want revenge, come to the Soul Society to find me." Not long after, Hanaritsu heard the reputation of Tsujigoku Yoriichi in the Soul Society. Because the Groti 13 was extremely short of people at that time, Tsujigoku Yoriichi graduated early as soon as he learned the first release. Unfortunately, the other party did not choose the 11th Division where she was, but became the 3rd seed of the 5th Division. Time passed day by day. 100 years seemed to be just a blink of an eye, and Tsujigoku Yoriichi had become the captain of the 5th Division. Hanaritsu felt that the fruit was ripe, so he went to the door again. However, the current Tsujigoku Yoriichi was no longer the weak wandering soul of the West 80th District. Having found the poem, he was no longer shackled. After a fierce battle with Hanaritsu, Tsujigoku Yoriichi won the victory with difficulty. Even though Tsukuni controlled his own strength, he still stabbed Hanaritsu just below the throat in the fierce battle. Only an inch away. Sorry, Zaraki. Russell smiled a little embarrassedly at this time. He put Zaraki Kenpachi's background on Tsukuni. This is also to pave the way for Tsukuni. After all, Tsukuni will definitely advance in the future. Now it is easier to make up stories later. Even if Zaraki Kenpachi will appear in the later story, it is impossible for Unohanaritsu to die willingly. After this battle, Unohanaritsu was transferred to the captain of the 4th Division and covered her scars with pigtails. Fortunately, because Unohanaritsu often heals her own injuries, she is also very proficient in Kado. Unfortunately, since then, no one has ever seen the Benkei of the great villain Unohana Yachirayu. Because Unohana Yachirayu has disappeared, there is only Unohanaritsu, the captain of the 4th Division, who is proficient in Ghost Way. After that, until the invasion of Ichigo Kurosaki, no one could associate Unohanaritsu, who is like Yamato Natashiko, with the big villain. After the battle with Aizen, Unohanaritsu used his Shike, which was like a manta, to heal everyone's wounds. That's about it. Russell is not going to write the subsequent Invisible Empire chapter. After so many card making, Russell is no longer the rookie who made the first card. After all, if he failed the judgment, he would have been kicked out of the mysterious space. Sure enough, after a while, he returned to reality. Russell grabbed the floating card in front of him and refined it in an instant. The information on the card also appeared in his mind. Captain of the 4th Division, Unohanaritsu rank, silver quality, red category, biological skills, Keto mastery, can use Keto with serial numbers below 90. Instant step, reduce friction and air resistance through the recoil of spirit particles, allowing the user to move in a straight line at high speed. Zanpakuto, Shike, Nishizuku, after the Shike of Unohanaritsu Zanpakuto, it will transform into a monster with one eye similar to a manta ray. In this form, Nishizuku can carry others to fly and can quickly heal the wounded swallowed. Features, Death God, greatly increases the damage caused to spirit-type demons. Yachirayu, hidden, Unohanaritsu, who became the captain of the 4th Division, basically no longer participates in the front-line battles, but if someone mistakenly thinks she is a medical unit and despises her, the sharpness of Yachirayu will make the other party understand the nature of Unohanaritsu as a great villain. Rejuvenation, as the captain of the medical division, there are many injured Shinigami and Tsurutoe for Unohanaritsu to practice and treat, so when releasing Kado, Unohanaritsu will receive a large bonus. Introduction, can a killer really retract his fangs? Advanced, silver, captain of the 4th Division, Unohanaritsu, emerald, the greatest villain, Unohana Yachirayu, bond, when playing at the same time with Yamamoto Genryusai Shigekuni, and other series, the effect, First Rotei 13, can be activated. Activated bond, First Rotei 13, February 13th, bond effect, when cards with a First Rotei 13 bond appear at the same time, the attack power will be strengthened, and the degree of strengthening increases with the number of bonds. Red quality, can't I reach color using red materials? Russell was a little confused at this time. This was the first time he used red quality materials to make cards, and with 2 gold materials, he originally thought that he could have the chance to reach color. I wonder what quality the teacher's 5 palaces of hell is. Remembering what Zio Yifei said when he first saw his teacher's master level card, Russell touched his chin. Does it mean that all red materials are required? Russell had never seen or heard of colored materials. I don't know if it exists, but it is said that this quality was set by the first card maker Lu Sheng, so let's just assume it exists. I'll ask the teacher when I have a chance. Suppressing the thoughts in his mind, Russell continued to check. Can it use all the ghost ways below the 90th? When he saw the first skill, Russell couldn't hold it back. This is my first card that can be considered a long-range caster. Although Unohanaritsu's essence is a melee maniac, compared to other cards in his hand, it can already be considered a long-range caster. What's more, the ghost way with the 90th number is already very powerful. The most famous one is the Broken Way 90th, Black Coffin. But the upper limit is only the emerald level. Seeing the end, Russell was a little confused about Unohanaritsu's bond, and why is there no bond with Yuchi's great evil? But he immediately understood what was going on. It seems that I have to upgrade to trigger another bond with Yuchi. That's right, Russell just looked through the card information of Yoriichi Tsugikuni, and the description is that when it appears at the same time with Unohana Yachirayu and other series, the effect, Big Villain, can be activated. At this time, Unohanaritsu's upgrade shows unprecedented Big Villain Unohana Yachirayu. It can only be triggered after the emerald level. Russell couldn't help but feel a little regretful about this. He also wanted to see how strong it would be if 2 bonds were triggered. But he soon sorted out his mood and summoned Hanaritsu. 2 in 1 chapter of 4,000 words, and there will be 2 more chapters in the evening. The ellipsis in the card making is the original plot, so I omitted it directly to avoid wasting my brother's starting coins. Chapter 102 Russell, my sword is not bad either. A gentle beauty with pigtails appeared in front of Russell. The white and wide captain's hori was draped over Hanaritsu's body, so Russell couldn't see her figure clearly. Please give me more advice in the future, Russell. Hanaritsu had a gentle smile on his face. Perhaps others would be deceived by Hanaritsu's current appearance, but Russell certainly wouldn't. He knew very well that under Hanaritsu's gentle face was a bloodless and tearless villain. As if sensing Russell's thoughts, Hanaritsu still had a smile on his face, but his eyes, like autumn water, gradually narrowed. I always feel that Russell is thinking about something rude. Ahem. Russell's forehead was covered with fine cold sweat, and he quickly changed the subject and said, speaking of which, Sister Lai, what is the specific situation of your 8,000 flows, hidden? After checking Hanaritsu's information, he was a little confused. Because under normal circumstances, Hanaritsu's characteristic should be 8,000 flows, but there is obviously a problem now. But the description didn't specify it, so he could only ask Hanaritsu in person. Upon hearing this, Hanaritsu's gentle face showed a distressed expression. If the information in my mind is correct, I should be able to use swordsmanship when my status is reduced. Russell nodded and understood. I see. Although it was a bit unexpected, it didn't surprise Russell too much. After all, in the original work, Hanaritsu gave people the impression of a long-range support character with sufficient healing until the 1,000-year Blood War. Sufficient healing in all senses. But this is not bad news for Russell. After all, in a normal card-maker battle, you must first find a way to deal with the opponent's long-range output and medical cards. Isn't it a coincidence that Hanaritsu, who has not activated the 8,000 flow, is just in this position? Imagine when the enemy finally rushed to her side and was about to deal with the small squishy skin in the back row and their eyes, they found that the opponent was not a long-range mage at all, but a berserker. The picture was too beautiful, and Russell was a little afraid to think about it. But if the other party doesn't deal with Hanaritsu, then the 90-level ghost will teach them a lesson. Putting away the complicated thoughts in his heart, Russell said to Hanaritsu with a serious face, speaking of which, I also have a sword, and I hope to ask Sister Lai for advice. Hanaritsu felt what Russell was thinking and looked around. Is it here? Russell nodded seriously. And where he is now is the bedroom. The next day, Russell stood up while touching his waist. Silver level is different. Fortunately, after more than a month, arrogance has also strengthened my physique to black iron level. Otherwise, I really can't resist it. Last night, Russell felt that he was facing the greatest villain in the Soul Society. Fortunately, Russell's swordsmanship was more advanced in the end, and he killed Hanaritsu with his sword, but this was also thanks to the fact that Russell had 2 sparring partners to accompany him in training in the past. After this victory, he could put his hands on his hips and say, my sword is not bad either. After a quick wash, Russell prepared to do his homework for the day. As usual, he checked his phone to see if there were any unread messages. Shi Wenryo, Mr. Luo, the admission procedures have been completed. The relevant materials will be sent to your home in the next 2 days. Please check them. Seeing this message, Russell scratched his head and said, who is Shi Wenryo? Oh, I remember. He is the teacher in charge of admissions at Nanjing University. Russell replied immediately. Russell, got it. After replying to this message, Russell clicked into the group of teachers that Tutao had pulled him into before, and found that no one was talking. Senior brothers and sisters and teachers are all very busy. Russell had some guesses about this. After all, according to Bai Yuming's personality, the disciples he accepted must be good people. Even if they are not good people, they must pretend to be good people in the same group as Bai Yuming. There is no response now, maybe because he has entered the secret realm. After all, there is no signal after entering the secret realm, so it is normal not to receive messages. Putting away his phone, Russell emptied his mind and entered into meditation. February 2nd was the day when the second half of the semester of Nanjing University began. This year, the holiday was early, and the school started early. Bang! A dull sound of landing sounded at the gate of Nanjing University's Zionling campus. At this time, the sparse crowd at the school gate was attracted by the sound and turned their heads to look. What caught their eyes was a huge humanoid black and red monster. Fuck, the secret organization is attacking. Which secret organization is so bold to come to our campus to cause trouble? That's right, if you want to attack, you should attack other campuses first. The reason why the students of Xianling campus said this is naturally because the card-making department of Nanjing University is here. The card-making department of Nanjing University has terrifying teaching staff. Not to mention the emerald-level teachers, there are even several diamond-level teachers. Is this a biological card? It should be, but I haven't seen it in the department before. Is it newly made during this winter vacation? Don't worry about that for now, the question is where is the card maker? Although most of the people present were ordinary students, there were still some students from the card-making department. Just as everyone was puzzled, the huge black and red monster shrank rapidly like a balloon leaking air, until it completely penetrated into the figure that remained in place. What the hell? What kind of card is this? I don't know, I've never seen such a card. Have you seen this classmate in the department? No, this person was naturally Russell. The wind in February was still very cold, so he let the arrogance completely wrap himself up during the flight. With a blessing of arrogance, Russell easily heard the voices talking about him in the distance. After thinking for a moment, Russell took out the admission notice and walked towards the two people who were obviously students of the card-making department. Hello, how do I get to the class at this address? Russell handed over the admission notice and asked the two people. One of the thin guys took the admission letter, read it carefully, and then hesitantly asked Russell, "Why did you come to school half a year later?" The fat guy next to him also finished reading the admission letter next to the thin guy, and immediately slapped the thin guy on the arm. "Are you stupid? Don't you see that the date on it is January 28th of this year?" But the next moment, he reacted and looked at Russell in confusion. "Our school is still recruiting students in the second half of the semester? How come I didn't know?" Russell laughed at this. Early admission, just luck. Seeing that Russell didn't seem to want to say more, the thin guy thought for a while and said, "You should have a student's ID, right?" Russell nodded, and understood what the thin guy meant. He immediately took out his student's ID and passed the gate inspection at the school gate under the gaze of the two. "Now you should be able to tell me how to get to this place, right?" Chapter 103 Get out of the way, I'm going to pretend. Seeing that Russell was really a student of their school, the thin man and the fat man looked at each other and saw the surprise in each other's eyes. It's not that there were no early admissions in the past, but no matter how outrageous the early admissions were, they would not come to school directly in the second half of the semester. At this time, in the eyes of the fat and thin duo, Russell was either the son of a big boss who came in through the back door, or he was so talented that Nanjing University made an exception and admitted him in the second half of the semester. Combined with the scene at the school gate just now, Russell was obviously the latter. The fat and thin duo immediately walked to Russell. "I didn't expect that you are really from our school, classmate. Let me see your address. Class 1, Card Making Department, Class of 2024. As the thin man slowly read out the place name, the fat man next to him said in a daze, "Isn't this our class?" Standing at the door of Class 1, Card Making Department, Russell thanked the duo. "Thank you for leading the way." After communicating, Russell also figured out the identities of the two. The fat man's name is Yikishao and the thin man's name is Yikifan. That's right, two people who look completely different are actually twins, which surprised Russell a little. Yikishao said disapprovingly, "It's a small matter. We have to report here anyway, so it's just on the way. Besides, Russell, you are also our classmate from today." Yikifan nodded silently. The three of them entered the classroom. At this time, there were already several students sitting in the classroom. Seeing the fat and thin duo leading Russell in, they immediately asked curiously, "Who is this classmate?" Yikishao opened his mouth when he heard the words, but didn't know where to start. Finally, he scratched his head and said, "The specific situation is a bit complicated. Teacher who should tell you when he arrives." Yikifan said coldly, "Are you sure teacher who will tell you?" Yikishao thought of the counselor of his class and suddenly felt a little unconfident. And Russell only felt that the teacher who they were talking about had an inexplicable sense of déjà vu. It can't be a senior sister, right? No, there shouldn't be any school that would let social phobia be a counselor, right? But thinking about Hu Tao being a teacher at Nanjing University, it doesn't seem like a big deal to have another part-time counselor. After all, the counselor doesn't really have much to do. Time passed by, and students entered the class one after another. Seeing that there were students they had never seen before in the class, they all cast curious glances at Russell. As the clock pointed to 9 o'clock, a slender figure in a turtleneck sweater also stepped into the classroom. It's really a senior sister, Russell thought helplessly, covering his forehead. Walnut, who had already stood next to the podium, saw Russell's eyes light up, opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something, but then pursed his lips and said nothing. Russell, don't look at teacher Who like this, she is still a very good person, and she is very generous in approving leave. Hikisha was talking in a low voice, and saw Russell stand up. Hey, Russell, where are you going? In the eyes of everyone, Russell walked all the way to Hutao and said, Senior sister, then let me introduce myself. Everyone present was stunned when they heard the words, Senior sister, what senior sister? Before they had time to think, they heard Russell say, Hello everyone, my name is Russell, from Shanghai. Thank you Nanjing University for giving me this opportunity. From today on, I am a classmate of everyone. I hope everyone will take care of me. Hearing Russell's words, the classroom of the first class of the card-making department fell into a strange silence. However, there are no stupid people who can be admitted to Nanjing University, and they quickly understood what Russell meant. Transfer student. Whose big boss's child is this? Outrageous, this is the first time I have seen such an operation. Russell didn't care about the discussion of the crowd, and sat back next to Hikisha. Russell, what do you mean by senior sister? Hikisha was not surprised because he had known Russell's identity for a long time. He was only interested in the way Russell addressed Hutao. Literally, Master Bai Yuming is my teacher. One day passed. The news that Russell was Bai Yuming's disciple quickly spread throughout the entire class 1 of the card-making department. His classmates finally knew why Russell called Hutao senior sister. Russell stood at the foot of the mountain and asked Hikisha, so a practical class is on the mountain. There is a mountain in the Xionling campus. The teaching building of the card-making department is next to this mountain. Russell was only on the first day of class today, so he was not very clear about the location of the practical class. However, Hikisha shook his head and corrected him, it's not on the mountain, to be exact, the whole mountain. But we first-year students can't make such a big fuss, so we are basically on the top of the mountain. Russell nodded slightly when he heard this. In his observation over the past 2 days, the first-year students are basically bronze-level card makers, and there are very few silver-level ones. There are still few monsters like Russell. But according to Hikisha himself, he is not far from the threshold of silver level, and the situation is the same for most of the first-year students in the department. However, he did not know Russell's identity as a silver-level card maker. After all, Russell could not publicize this matter everywhere. Let's go quickly, class is about to start. Hikifin's voice interrupted the conversation between the two. He summoned a huge dog, climbed on it and rushed to the top of the mountain. Seeing this, Russell stopped dawdling and summoned Pidgeot to fly to the top of the mountain. Arriving at the top of the mountain, Russell finally figured out how a socially anxious person like Hutao could attend class. Hutao was standing next to a blackboard with a few big words written on it. Cardmaker's Wild Fight Self-Defense Method. Fuck, why is this the topic today? Hikifin, who was standing next to Russell, shuddered when he saw the words on the blackboard. Since it was his first time to attend the class, Russell was not clear about the differences between the different topics, so he could only ask, what's wrong with this topic? The purpose of this topic is to improve our survival rate in the wild fight. Hikisha's face looked as if he had been criticized. The key to the problem is that we can't use cards that can act independently. While Hikisha was explaining to Russell, a middle-aged Taoist priest in a yellow robe and a yellow turban appeared beside Hutao. With a slight movement of his fingers, a sturdy warrior in a yellow turban appeared on the top of the mountain. The warrior walked to the center and said in a muffled voice, "Who will go first?" Russell didn't know the specific situation, so he naturally didn't ask to go first. The top of the mountain fell into a strange silence. After a long while, a voice rang out in the field, "Teacher Who, why don't you let Russell go first? We all want to see Russell's strength." Seeing that all the students present were looking at him, Russell frowned and thought to himself, sure enough, this world still depends on whose fist is bigger. He knew what the people present were thinking. They just thought that he entered Nanjing University by connections. But they didn't think about why they were accepted as disciples by Bai Yuming. Feeling the gaze from Hutao, Russell couldn't help but sigh, "Then I'll go first." As he stood still in the field, The yellow turban warrior saluted. "I'm sorry, young master." As Hu Tao's guard, he naturally knew Russell's identity. The next moment, the yellow turban warrior disappeared from the spot. When he reappeared, the whistling fist wind had already swept across his face. Following closely behind was the yellow turban warrior's right fist with terrifying power. "I've been underestimated, senior sister." A calm and a crazy voice overlapped and echoed on the top of the mountain. Including this chapter, a total of 8,000 words have been updated yesterday and today. Don't worry, brothers, I will complete it like this when I take leave in the future. The author will not run away. Chapter 104, Easily Defeat the Battle Society. Bang! A dull sound rang out on the top of the mountain. The ferocious black and red humanoid monster took the punch from the yellow turban warrior, and spider-web-like cracks instantly appeared under his feet. The ordinary students of the card-making department on the sidelines were stunned when they saw Russell's appearance at this time. Even the fat and thin duo who had seen Russell's appearance at this time couldn't help but be a little surprised at this time. "What kind of card is this?" "I don't know, but it looks scary. This style is a bit like a villain." In the field, Russell, who was completely covered by arrogance at this time, looked at the yellow turban warrior whose right fist was pinched by him. The big mouth full of sharp teeth on the terrifying face grinned an exaggerated grin. "Now it's my turn." The overlapping voices echoed on the top of the mountain. The next moment, the pupils of the yellow turban warrior suddenly shrank. The black and red blade had already chopped towards him with a terrifying wind sound. Amid the exclamations of the students on the side, a broken arm was thrown high and fell to the ground. The yellow turban warrior sacrificed an arm to avoid Russell's fatal attack. But Russell would not miss such a good opportunity. The black and red tentacles shot out instantly and grabbed the yellow turban warrior, who wanted to get away from Russell. In the surprised eyes of the yellow turban warrior, Russell grabbed his head. With a black and red giant palm exerting force, the yellow turban warrior banged and turned into a beam with white smoke and rolled into the dust. Seeing that the yellow turban warrior was defeated so easily, Russell turned his head and looked at Hu Tao beside him. "Senior sister, is there anything else?" Hu Tao shook her head slightly. This course was originally just to train students' ability to survive in the wild fight. Since it was stipulated that independent action cards could not be used, she would not use any supermodel cards. The yellow turban warrior summoned by her card just now was at most bronze blue level. After silently recording Russell's full score for the ability to survive in the wild fight on her mobile phone, she cast her eyes on other students beside her. But at this moment, the students had no mind to fight next. Fuck, after half a year of classes, this is the first time that anyone has defeated Mr. Hu's yellow turban warrior, right? That's nonsense. Our strength lies in biological cards. We can only barely protect ourselves against Mr. Hu's yellow turban warrior. Don't you think Russell's card is cool? No wonder he was admitted to our school in advance in the second half of the semester. He is really good. The students in the first class of the card-making department have been in class for half a year. This is the first time that the yellow turban warrior has been so powerless when facing the card maker himself. After all, most card makers' strength lies in biological cards. The purpose of Hu Tao's course is just to train their ability to respond to emergencies in wild battles. But today Russell gave them a small knife to their buttocks, which opened their eyes. In the field, arrogance slowly seeped into Russell's body. "I don't feel any pressure, senior sister." With the assistance of the battle master arrogance, Russell felt that he didn't even move much just now. When Hu Tao heard Russell's words, a mosquito-like voice came out of his mouth. Fortunately, thanks to his arrogance, he could barely hear clearly. "This is the first class. I can't tell your strength. I can only try with the average level of the class." No wonder. Russell sighed in his heart. Was the yellow turban warrior weak just now? In fact, he was not weak at all. The spider-web-like cracks on the ground now showed how fierce the yellow turban warrior's attack was just now. It's just that the yellow turban warrior didn't expect Russell to have such a card. After all, most students could only cry and run away under their attacks. Next, Russell, who knew Hu Tao's social phobia, glanced at the noisy crowd and shouted loudly. If he didn't shout, Hu Tao would probably have to wait until the crowd quieted down before the next round of battle. Then, with a middle-aged Taoist priest beside Hu Tao moving his fingers slightly, another yellow turban warrior appeared on the field. After that, the rest of the students in the first class of the card-making department took turns to be beaten up by the yellow turban warrior. It's not appropriate to say that they beat him violently. Some students were able to resist a little, making the yellow turban warrior look a little embarrassed. But that was all. However, no one killed the yellow turban warrior directly like Russell did. I think Hulele should be able to do it, right? Looking at the performance of the students in the first class of the card-making department, Russell scratched his head and thought. After all, he had personally experienced Hulele's melee ability. Soon, Russell's first class after entering Nanjing University ended. Awesome, Russell. After class, Hikishao stood beside Russell and said with shining eyes. He had seen Russell's parasitic card that looked like a monster, but he didn't expect that its combat power was so strong. You are so strong, are you interested in joining the Battle Club? Battle Club? Hearing this name, Russell was stunned. Does our school have such a thing? The next moment, Hikishao instantly corrected the mistake in Russell's words. It's not our school, but any school with a card-making department has a battle club. Hearing this, Russell became interested. So the battle club must be unusual, right? Otherwise, how could every school have one? Hikishao nodded and confirmed Russell's guess. Yes, the reason why every school has a battle club is because there will be a national competition in early June every year. At that time, colleges and universities across the country will participate. What about the rewards? Russell didn't believe that there would be such a big reaction from major colleges and universities without rewards. Hikishao heard this and showed a look of longing on his face. I'm not sure about this year, but last year, the first place in the team competition was the opportunity to enter the welfare secret realm, and the first place in the individual competition was a set of gold-level materials. A set. Russell sighed in his heart at the generous reward for the first place in the national competition. You know, a set of materials is like the set of silver-level materials that Bai Yuming gave him, and there are 3 copies at the minimum. As for the quality, Russell didn't think that a competition of this scale would give any low-quality materials. And it was gold grade. However, Russell still had some other doubts about the national competition. Is there no other requirements for this national competition? Well, the specific selection is made by each school, but it is stipulated that it must be freshmen and sophomores. If you are a repeater, the organizer will examine whether you deliberately repeat the grade. Hikishao understood this very well. Hearing this, Russell nodded slightly. As for why juniors and seniors can't participate, he has some ideas. He remembered that Xiao Yifei, a junior student at Shanghai University, said that he would be arranged to do internships after entering the junior year. Now it seems that every university is like this. Moreover, limiting the participation of freshmen and sophomores will not lead to particularly outrageous situations such as gold level playing bronze level. At most, it is silver level playing bronze level. How about it? Do you want to join the battle club? Hikishao's question came again. Chapter 105 The advantage is mine. Facing Hikishao's inquiry, Russell had another doubt, which was also something he had been thinking about. Speaking of which, it is difficult for us to obtain new materials during class, so what should we do with the next card making? If the card maker cannot make new cards, it means that he cannot improve his strength. It is impossible for everyone to use bronze cards to fight when they are silver level. The card makers who have already participated in the work can still collect materials by exploring the secret realm, but students like them do not have such an opportunity, and it is not realistic to buy materials with money. Hikishao heard Russell's inquiry and explained, our freshmen and sophomores will be arranged with practical training courses. The content of the practical training courses is to enter the secret realm to do some finishing work. Finishing work? Russell was stunned, not knowing what Hikishao meant specifically. The association is exploring a new secret realm. After roughly cleaning it up, we will do the final finishing work. Hikishao quickly answered Russell's doubts. The finishing work is somewhat dangerous, but not as dangerous as the exploration mission. It is suitable for students like us to train. It can also allow us to adapt to future work in advance. At this time, Russell's face darkened, and he thought to himself, sure enough, there is something wrong with the secret realm that Ma Liang assigned to us before. Russell had long felt that the previous mission in the Black Flag secret realm was too dangerous. After all, the freshmen and sophomores at present only started with the finishing work, and their Black Flag secret realm mission was a direct exploration mission. Combined with Ma Liang's identity as the Spirit Begging Society, Russell now confirmed his long-standing guess. Suppressing his thoughts, Russell said, then take me to the battle club to have a look. There was only one practical class this morning, so they had free time in the afternoon. The Battle Club's base was next to the teaching building of the card-making department. After all, it is called the Battle Club, so there must be battles, so the Battle Club often borrows the mountain forest next to the teaching building for battles. The current students are already bronze or even silver level, and their destructive power cannot be underestimated. On the second day of school, there were only a few people in the Battle Club. Qi took Russell directly into the office of the instructor of the Battle Club. He is a formal member of the Battle Club. Teacher Chai, I have a classmate who wants to join the Battle Club. Qi stood in the office and said to the bald middle-aged male teacher who was slacking off. Heidi, who was called Teacher Chai, was stunned when he heard this. Is there anyone in our department who has not joined the Battle Club? Or is this classmate from another department? After all, the card-making department teaches card-making battles, and as long as they are students of the card-making department, they will join the Battle Club when they enter school. Just as Qi was about to explain, Luo Su stepped forward and said, Teacher Chai, I'm Luo Su. Hearing Luo Su's name, Heidi was stunned, and then suddenly realized, you are Master Bai's new disciple, right? I thought so. Just fill in the form, said Heidi, handed Luo Su a form. Seeing this, Qi on the side kept muttering in his heart, I'm not envious, I'm not envious. You know, when he joined the Battle Club, he still went through a test, even if those tests were very simple for students in the card-making department. Unlike now, Luo Su just said his name and can directly join the Battle Club. After quickly filing in the basic information in the form, Luo Su looked up at Heidi and said, Teacher Chai, I want to be a main member. On the way here, Qi told him that the Battle Club has 5 main players, and these 5 main players are the ones who will participate in the national competition in June. The main players are not fixed. As long as you can beat any one of them before the list of the national competition is submitted, you can replace the other party's quota. Teacher Chai showed an awkward expression on his face when he heard this. Well, the main members are full now, and I can't change the personnel casually. He thought that Russell wanted to take up a place by force by relying on his status as Bai Yuming's disciple. Qi, who was standing aside, pulled the corner of Russell's clothes and whispered, Russell, the 5 main members are now sophomores of the silver level. The next moment, Russell's calm voice sounded in the room. I am also a silver level card maker. Let's go. It is said that someone in the Battle Club wants to challenge the main members. Challenge is a challenge, doesn't it happen often? What if the person I challenge is a freshman? In the teaching building of the card-making department, hurried footsteps sounded in the corridor. The news that Russell, a freshman, was going to challenge the main members had quickly spread throughout the card-making department. In the Battle Club, Qi still looked at Luo Su in disbelief. Luo Su, you are actually a silver-level card maker. It's no wonder that Qi was so surprised. You know, there is no silver-level card maker among the freshmen of the card-making department of Nanjing University this year. And he didn't forget that Russell was admitted in advance. If you really count, Russell should be a year younger than them. Russell nodded, it's just that I was lucky some time ago and broke through by chance. Then do you have a silver-level card? Hearing this, Russell looked at Qi strangely. If not, how dare I challenge the main members? Qi was choked. At this time, the Battle Club was full of students who came to watch the show. There were those from the card-making department and those who were not. Here comes Guanji, the sophomore. Qi whispered to Luo Su when he saw a young man with a short haircut walking in the door of the Battle Club. Guanji was also confused at this time. At first, when he received the message from Teacher Chai, he thought the other party was joking. But after repeated confirmation, he realized that there was indeed a freshman who had broken through to the silver level and challenged him. You are still too young. Let me teach this junior what it means that there is a gap between the silver level and the silver level. However, Guanji was not very afraid. After all, he had broken through to the silver level for some time. When Teacher Chai saw Guanji arrive, he said to the two of them, let's go to the mountain when you are here. Both of them are silver level card makers, so it is definitely impossible for them to fight in an indoor venue. The huge crowd headed towards the top of the mountain. At the top of the mountain, Russell and Guanji stood opposite each other. I won't say much about the rules of the card maker duel. Russell vs. Guanji, start. As soon as Teacher Chai finished speaking, Nami, Luffy, Tsudokoku Yoriichi, and Anahanaritsu appeared in front of Russell in an instant. It was his first time to fight against a silver level card maker, so he naturally would not be arrogant. Iron level? Bronze level? You want to challenge me with just a silver level card? Guanji felt the aura of the card in front of Russell and sneered. The advantage is mine. Chapter 106 You disturbed the villain. As Guanji spoke, 2 silver level cards instantly appeared on the field. Is it because of overconfidence, or are silver level cards upgraded from low level cards? Russell thought silently in his heart, feeling the breath of the opponent's card. Russell was quite open-minded about this battle. It would be best if he could win, but it didn't matter if he couldn't win. After all, this was his first battle after entering the silver level. However, looking at the other party's disdainful look, there is a chance. Because Guanji was a main member, Hikishou had already told Russell the general information of his 2 silver level cards. Yaksha, and Ashura. Yaksha Russell had seen in Shanghai before. Lin Jianian's black iron level card was Yaksha, but it was from the Dragon Palace. Guanji's 2 silver level cards at the moment were both from the 8 Guardian series of Buddhism. It shouldn't be the 8 generals of Yaksha and King Ashura. After all, if it was these 2 types, it would not just be a silver level card, it would have to be considered gold level. According to Indian mythology, as long as one practices hard, one will gain something. Some Ashura kings can even reach the diamond level. Looking at the voluptuous and exposed posture of Ashura, Russell knew that this was a female Ashura. After all, the appearance of the 2 genders of Ashura was very different. In the field, feeling the pressure from the opposite side, Yoriichi immediately released the first release. Destroy all evil spirits and burn everything. Sun Wheel. The golden red flames instantly appeared on the field, and the scorching temperature made the students watching on the sidelines take a few steps back. Fuck, Russell has this trick. Hikishou stared at the scene in the field with wide eyes. After all, he had only known Russell for 2 days. Hikifeng looked at his hair curled by the surging flames and couldn't help saying, just this card, it's not weaker than our main force. The next moment, under the gaze of everyone present, the overwhelming golden red flames instantly gathered on Yoriichi's body and blade. Interesting, but it's not enough to defeat me with this. Guanji watched Tsugikuni Yashiichi Shike with great interest. After the opponent released this strange skill, the strength of his breath was extremely close to the silver level. Tsugikuni Yashiichi let out a breath, and the golden red flames rose in his breath. At this moment, the air around him was slightly distorted, making it difficult to see his expression. The next moment, with a swing of his blade, thousands of golden red blade lights instantly slashed at the opponent, and everything was charred black. However, under Yasha's indifferent gaze, the blade light with terrifying temperature slashed on the light wall composed of fine scriptures in front of him. Boom! In the violent explosion, the light wall shook, but did not hurt the 2 behind it. But injuring the opponent was not Tsugikuni Yashiichi's purpose. Nami had already raised her stick and rushed forward. Friends who have played Hearthstone know that sometimes death riddle cards are given voluntarily. As Nami slowly dissipated under Ashura's scimitar, Luffy roared angrily. The next moment, the huge fist was in front of Yasha and Ashura. Rubber giant pistol. Bang! The ground on the top of the mountain trembled and raised dust under the powerful blow of Luffy in the 3rd gear. The students watching also trembled under Luffy's furious blow. This is at least silver level. I feel that all my cards combined can't stop this. The fat and thin duo looked at each other. With this attack alone, only a few people in the card-making department can stop it. I know why he is Master Bai's disciple. He was accepted as a disciple by Bai Yuming because he was powerful, not because he was Bai Yuming's disciple. They had always confused the cause and effect. Guanji also felt that he seemed to have guessed the trump card of the freshman on the opposite side. Is this the basis for challenging me? However, my 8 guardian bonds add defense. Under the gaze of the students on the top of the mountain, even though the light wall was already shaky, it still stood firmly in front of Yasha and Ashura. It didn't break this, worthy of being a main member of the battle club. Then this Russell is probably in trouble. Hey, after all, he is just a freshman. It's too early to challenge the main members now. Why not settle down for a while? Give it a try, anyway, there will be no loss. But this Russell will definitely be a main member next year. Speaking of which, doesn't he still have a silver level card? Why hasn't he used it? The students present were not stupid. Naturally, they could see that Luffy, who was only at the bronze level, would have to pay a heavy price to use such a move. Next, it's my turn. Guanji showed a confident smile on his face, but the next moment, he caught a glimpse of the silver level card on the opposite side that had not moved since he entered the field under his mental sense. Broken Deo 90 Black Coffin. A gentle female voice instantly spread throughout the venue. At the same time, a huge black coffin instantly enveloped Yasha and Ashura. Countless black swords also stabbed at the coffin. A long-range spellcaster. Guanji finally understood why the opponent had not made any move since he came on the stage. He was probably preparing this powerful spell. The black coffin gradually dissipated, and the originally shaky light wall had disappeared at this time. Yasha and Ashura also had fine bloodstains on their bodies. Is this not solved? Russell looked at Guanji's 2 cards and sighed, but the turtle shell has been broken, we can win. After the battle began, he had already instructed his own cards to give priority to delaying time for Hanaritsu's ghost chant. If the black coffin can take down the opponent directly, that would be the best, but if it can't, it doesn't matter, at least it can consume the opponent's state a little. Russell didn't think that the opponent could be safe and sound under the black coffin that killed the big dog in seconds, even if the big dog was very weak. Looking at the appearance of Yasha and Ashura, Guanji's face gradually became gloomy, and he smelled the breath of failure. We can't go on like this. Looking at the smiling Hanaritsu, Guanji secretly made a decision in his heart. Let Yasha deal with the 2 bronze level cards, and Ashura will deal with the silver level card. As long as she can get close to that kind of long-range card, Ashura can deal with her with just 1 sword. Originally, he was still thinking about playing, but now that he has seen Luffy's 3rd gear in a rage and Hanaritsu's ghost way, he knows that if he doesn't take it seriously, he will really fall. In the field, sensing the inner thoughts of his master, dense Buddhist scriptures appeared around Yasha, and the scriptures became ropes, instantly tying up Tsugikuni Yoriichi and Luffy. Seeing Yasha's action, the blade in Tsugikuni Yoriichi's hand was wrapped in golden and red flames and slashed out a huge sword light. The sword light swept past, leaving deep gullies on the ground. Rubber giant battle axe. The right foot that covered the sky and the sun slammed down from top to bottom to where Yasha was. The originally flat mountain top was broken into blocks of stone in a breath, forming a huge deep pit. Looking at the horrific scene in the field, the students on the side couldn't help swallowing their saliva, and they all calculated what they would do if they encountered such an attack. But in the end, they only came to a frustrating conclusion. Even if Russell didn't use the silver level card, they couldn't solve the 2 bronze level cards alone. When the 3 were fighting, Ashura had already appeared behind Hanaritsu. But when they saw Ashura's position, they couldn't help but feel a little pity in their hearts. Guanji is going to win. When Ashura solves the silver level card, there will be nothing to be afraid of with the remaining 2 bronze level cards. Yet, what a pity. The fat and thin duo also began to think about how to comfort Russell later. We won. Guanji couldn't help but shout in his heart when he saw this scene. The newcomers nowadays are really monsters. After seeing the strength of Luffy and Tsugikuni Yoshiichi, he had already regarded Russell as an opponent of the same level. Even though Russell only had a silver level card. Fortunately, his Ashura had already approached the opponent's little crispy skin. The victory's mine. Guanji was about to see Russell's reaction at this time, but he only saw a half-smile expression. What does this expression mean? The next moment, Ashura's scimitar flashing with cold light was blocked. At the same time, a terrifying aura instantly erupted on the top of the mountain. It was like a real pressure that spread throughout the field. Students with poor psychological quality kept collapsing and fainting on the sidelines. Teacher Chai summoned his own card and protected the students who were watching nearby. No wonder you dare to challenge the main members. Young people nowadays are really amazing. Hikisha looked at the scene in the field with trembling legs, and stammered to Hikifin on the side. I feel a little weak in the legs. Hikifin supported his brother and said, it should be the ability of the card. It just didn't target us specifically. Is it so terrifying? He naturally knew that the students on the sidelines were just affected. At this time, Guanji widened his eyes and looked at the expressionless woman holding the samurai sword with disbelief, not a ranged unit. The next moment, in his sight, the woman who seemed to be 2 different people before swung a knife at Ashura. The most simple and unpretentious slash, with the heaviest sense of oppression. Bang! Ashura dodged, but instead, a deep gully appeared on the ground. Gudong. Guanji watched the scene in front of him with cold sweat. Hanaritsu's ordinary slash was almost as fast as the full-strength attack of his own card. Did you dodge it? Interesting. A cold voice came from the gentle and beautiful Unohanaritsu. What kind of card is this? Guanji was a little crazy. Things became wrong after Hashirama attacked the woman. On the sidelines, in Russell's peripheral vision, there were several people standing next to Teacher Chai who were obviously not students, including Russell's senior sister Hu Tao. What's going on? Who are the two people fighting now? A middle-aged man frowned and asked Teacher Chai. Teacher Chai smiled bitterly and said, "A freshman challenged the main members of the battle club." A middle-aged woman glanced at the battlefield. "I thought so. I remember that there are no classes conducting practical classes now. This is too noisy. But can a freshman have such great ability? That freshman is Master Bai's disciple." Hearing this, several middle-aged people instantly turned their eyes to Hu Tao. Hu Tao nodded slightly, confirming what Teacher Chai said. The middle-aged man's brows relaxed. "So you are Master Bai's disciple. I've heard that our school will make an exception to admit a student this year. Now it seems that the reputation is well deserved." As he spoke, Unohanaritsu had flashed in front of Hashirama again. Seeing the light and powerless slash that slashed at Hashirama from top to bottom at an extremely fast speed. "I will die, I will die, I will die." Guanji, who was still some distance away from Hashirama, was frantically sounding the alarm in his heart. Guanji felt that the terrifying murderous intent had overwhelmed him and made him breathless. The pupils of several teachers on the sidelines also shrank slightly. The next moment, a middle-aged Taoist priest in a yellow robe appeared in front of Unohanaritsu. His right hand flashing with lightning light gently pinched Unohanaritsu's blade. Boom! Amid the deafening roar, the Taoist priest was fine, but the ground under his feet was instantly shattered. The half of the field near Guanji on the top of the mountain collapsed. Seeing this scene, several teachers on the sidelines couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief, thanks to Teacher Hu. Otherwise it would be too embarrassing if other schools knew that our students were injured by the aftermath while watching the game. Unohanaritsu was too fast, and they reacted, but the bronze and black iron students on the sidelines couldn't react at all. Fortunately, Hu Tao took action. At this moment, many students stood beside the yellow-turbaned warrior with lingering fear. And Guanji was also standing on the edge of the collapsed venue, still in shock. This silver level card is definitely red quality. Only red quality can have such destructive power. As a main member, he naturally saw silver level gold cards and even fought against them. After all, several other main members have gold and silver level cards. But the gold card is not as scary as the woman who has regained her gentle face on the field. Today's freshmen are too evil at this time. Russell was surrounded by several teachers. "Hello, teachers, hello, senior sisters." After greeting several people, he turned to look at Teacher Chai. "Teacher Chai, I should be able to become a main member." Teacher Chai glanced at the half-collapsed venue calmly. "No problem, I will communicate with Guanji if he has any objections." "But you are too cruel." Russell scratched his head embarrassedly. "This is the first time for me to fight with my silver level card, and I didn't know it would make such a big noise." Hearing this, the teachers present nodded slightly, and then they understood why our Russell didn't stop in the end. Seeing that the battle was over, several teachers did not stay. They had felt the terrifying aura of Unohanaritsu while they were in class in the teaching building next to them, so they rushed over to see what was going on. Before leaving, Russell saw his senior sister Hu Tao hesitated for a moment, and finally gave him a thumbs up. Russell smiled at Hu Tao, but in his heart he was thinking, Sister Lai has been exposed. Future opponents will definitely emphasize Sister Lai's 8,000 flows hidden. Even if they don't trigger this feature, Sister Lai can still be a long-range Meijin nurse to disgust them. But I still have to find a way to make new silver-level cards. But fortunately, the reward that Nanda gave me includes an annual self-selected welfare secret realm. 2-in-1. Chapter 107 Venue Card. "Russell, congratulations, you've become a main member." The voices of Hikishou and Hikifeng brought Russell back to his senses. Russell turned around and saw the two looking at him with complicated expressions. "Lucky, lucky." Russell blurted out a certain Yandi Brothers catchphrase. The mountaintop battle platform was too badly damaged, so it could only be repaired by professional maintenance personnel from Nanjing University before it could be used again. Fortunately, Russell didn't have to pay for it. After all, the damage done by sophomores in their actual combat classes might be even more exaggerated than this. The news that a freshman defeated Guanji quickly spread throughout the card-making department. In contrast, the information Russell showed in the battle was also quickly known. But because Guanji lost so easily, No student wanted to try to challenge Russell for the time being. But it probably won't be long before someone challenges me. The courses for the next few days after the battle were mainly theoretical courses, and it was at this time that Russell first learned in detail about the card type called field card. He had only heard of this card type before, but had never seen it before. Because only silver level card makers and above can use field cards, and the most critical core materials for making field cards can only be produced in secret realms above the silver level. Therefore, high school does not teach relevant knowledge. As long as a silver level card maker has the relevant materials, field cards are definitely the first choice when making cards. After using field cards, it does not mean pulling people into a different space, but amplifying the cards on the field. It is said that some field cards will have special effects when the number of series cards reaches a certain level. For example, the cards of the Underworld system and the Underworld. The cards of the Dragon Palace system and the Four Seas Dragon Palace. Moreover, the production process of field cards is different from that of general biological cards and prop cards. According to the teacher, when making field cards, the mysterious space will automatically generate the corresponding field cards according to the materials you provide and the card system you choose. There is no need for the card maker to compile additional stories. However, after the field card is made, it will not be directly generated as the highest level. Instead, it needs to continue to invest in core materials in the future before it can be slowly upgraded. It's like a silver level card maker who only has the black and white impermanence and only silver level venue materials. It is definitely impossible to directly generate a complete underworld. Russell thought to himself. Saturday morning. Russell, senior sister, I am going to enter the self-selected secret realm promised by the school. I am afraid that I will not be able to come out in time, so I will take 2 days off. Hu Tao, okay. Smiley face. Seeing that Hu Tao quickly replied to the message, Russell sent a message to Shi Wenryo. Russell, Teacher Shi, I want to enter the welfare secret realm promised by the school. Who should I go to? Shi Wenryo, is Luo going to enter the secret realm so soon? Shi Wenryo, oh, you are already silver level. Shi Wenryo, just come to school to find me. I happen to be in school too. Shi Wenryo, address. Russell quickly arrived at the address sent by Shi Wenryo. Dong dong dong. Come in. A familiar voice came from the door, and Russell pushed the door open. Teacher Shi, I'm here. Russell said softly, standing by the door. Shi Wenryo put down the documents in his hand, looked up and said with a smile, so soon, don't be so reserved, sit down. Seeing Russell sitting on the reception sofa, Shi Wenryo handed Russell a tablet. The secret realms controlled by the association and the court are all in here, you can take a look. After taking the tablet, Russell found that he could filter, which made it easier for him to search. Black iron, bronze, silver, gold. Russell looked up at Shi Wenryo. Teacher Shi, why is there no emerald level secret realm here? Shi Wenryo was not surprised that Russell would ask this. If it was an ordinary student, he would definitely not answer, but now the person sitting in front of him was Bai Yuming's disciple, so it didn't matter if he said it. In the entire Daming, the highest secret realm controlled is only gold level. First, there will be no secret realms of too high a level in the inland areas. Second, it is not realistic to station people at emerald level like gold and silver. After all, I believe you also know that Daming is now somewhat limited in terms of card makers. And even at gold level, it is rare to be able to fully control it. Russell nodded slightly when he heard this, and sighed inwardly, no wonder. After all, the full power of silver level Sister Lai was so terrifying yesterday, and at least one gold level card maker must be stationed in a silver level secret realm. If the captive demons in the secret realm counterattack, it will be another tragedy. Russell had some ideas about what cards to make this time. Right now, Lai Ji can heal, range and melee, which is already very complete, so there is no rush to make the next creature card. Russell's goal this time is to make the first venue card. Right now, he has the One Piece series and the Bleach series in a systematic way. He can quickly think of the venue card concept for One Piece, such as the Mary and the Thousand Sunny. However, Luffy and Zoro are only bronze level at the moment. If they follow the rules, they will have to be at least gold level next time they advance, so he is not in a hurry to make venue cards. Russell also has some ideas for the Bleach series. The first thing he thought of was the Soul Society. The second thing he thought of was the Soul King Palace. However, According to the stories he compiled from the 2 Bleach series cards, the Soul Society is more likely to appear, and the Soul King Palace should be the venue card that will be generated by making the Zero Squat cards. And the details still depend on the materials that can be obtained. After all, the secret realms that can produce the core materials of venue cards are very rare. Suppressing the complicated thoughts in his mind, Russell continued to look through the tablet in his hand. Because he had a goal, Russell immediately framed the screening conditions to the secret realms that can produce the core materials of the venue card. Dung Demon, Secret Realm, produces Creeping Nest. Omega, Secret Realm, produces City of Life. There are indeed very few secret realms that meet the conditions, but Russell has found his goal. The Silver Level, Night Banquet, Secret Realm, produces the Silver Level venue material, the Place of Death. This is already the card that best meets Russell's requirements among all the secret realms that produce the core materials of the venue card. This is it. After making the selection, Russell handed the tablet back to Shi Wenryo. When Shi Wenryo saw Luo Su's choice, he showed a look of as expected on his face. Student Luo, you are worthy of being master by Zapresentis. As expected, you chose the secret realm. Luo Su was stunned at first, but soon understood what Shi Wenryo meant. After all, Bai Yuming is good at the underworld system, and this, Destination of Death, is indeed very suitable for generating field cards with death power cards. It seems that the other party thinks that he should follow the underworld system like his teacher. But he didn't explain much, just smiled at Shi Wenryo. Shi Wenryo operated the tablet twice, and then said to Luo Su, "Okay, student Luo, I have registered for you. Tomorrow you can go to the government office in Luoxia district with your card maker certificate." Hearing this, Luo Su became confused and asked immediately, "Government? Aren't you going to the Card Maker Association?" Chapter 108. If nothing unexpected happens, something unexpected will happen. Hearing Russell's doubts, Shi Wenryo fell silent. Seeing this, Russell immediately said, "Sorry, Mr. Shi, just pretend that I didn't say anything." Hearing this, Shi Wenryo breathed a sigh of relief. He was really afraid that Russell would ask further, "Has Luo been able to adapt to life in Nanjing University recently?" What a blunt change of subject. Russell chuckled in his heart, but his expression did not change. He followed Shi Wenryo's words and chatted with the other party. However, he did have some speculations about the doubts just now. Is the split between the court and the association in Nandu so big? This Nandu is not peaceful either. He originally thought that he would be safe after coming to Nandu, but now it seems that it is hard to say. Because since the last award ceremony of the Jiang Province Unified Examination, the association and the court have given Russell the feeling that they are two completely different forces. It was only under external pressure that they reluctantly cooperated in the body of Daming. It's just that the court is so stingy. Is there anyone willing to work for them? It's no wonder that he has this idea. After all, since he became a card maker, he has never received any benefits from the court. Or is it because of the teacher? Bai Yuming has been in the coastal defense line, and the coastal defense line gives Russell the feeling that there is only the association but no court. Therefore, according to the faction classification, in Russell's mind, his teacher should be considered as the association faction. No wonder no one in the court contacted me after the unified examination of Jiang Province. I am afraid that I have been classified as the side of the association. And from this point of view, it is hard to say whether the Qi Ling Society is targeting the association or the Ming Dynasty. However, Russell still tends to believe that the Qi Ling Society is targeting the Ming Dynasty. The Qi Ling Society really does not take the lives of civilians seriously. Those masters will not cooperate with terrorists like the Qi Ling Society, should it? But Russell is not sure. Knowing the original direction of history, he does not have any hope for the bureaucracy of the Ming Dynasty. Thinking of this, Russell has a little doubt about Miao Zhuan's performance before. Those materials, can a brothel owner really get them? That's right, before the unified examination of Jiang Province, Miao Zhuan gave Russell the opponent's information, although not detailed, but very complete. None of the seated players were missed. However, Maya Oxun's Yichuanun is only a little famous in Nandu, so where did she get the information of the players in other big cities? Can she really get it just by relying on the girls in Yichuanun? I don't think those teachers who lead the team will go to the brothel. Luo Su thought to himself, I can find out if there is a chance. Although he was full of doubts, Luo Su still showed the excitement of entering the secret realm of welfare. After a while, Luosu said goodbye to Shi Wenryo. Looking at Luosu's back, Shi Wenryo showed a helpless look on his face. After being caught on the whirlpool, Luo's life will probably not be easy in the future. It's a pity that I'm just a little teacher and can't do anything. Sorry, Luo. The next day, Luosu came to the government office of Luoxia district early in the morning. Arriving at the front desk, Russell handed over his card maker certificate to the receptionist. I want to go to the welfare secret realm. The receptionist took Russell's card maker certificate and read the relevant information on the machine. Okay, I will enter the permissions for you, please wait. After a while, the receptionist respectfully handed back Russell's certificate. It has been entered. Lord Luo can go directly to the night banquet base. Russell nodded slightly, took the certificate and turned to leave the government office. I thought it would take some time, but I didn't expect it to be so fast. Outside the office gate, the black and red pigeon instantly soared into the sky, carrying Russell to the destination. Arriving at the night banquet base, Russell showed his identity certificate and was quickly led to the entrance of the secret realm. Lord Luo, please wait a moment, there is another card maker who will enter the night banquet secret realm today. Russell was slightly stunned when he heard this. He didn't expect to meet a card maker who also chose the night banquet secret realm by chance. He had no objection to entering the secret realm together. After all, night banquet was a silver-level secret realm and should be quite large. He just chose a different area from the other party. He just didn't know if the other party had any ideas about the core materials of the venue card. But he didn't say much, just nodded slightly. I'll wait for him here. After a while, a middle-aged man came to Russell with a yawning young man, nodding and bowing. When he saw Russell, the young man's calm voice sounded in the field. Master Lin, I remember you said yesterday that only I would go in today, right? The middle-aged man called Master Lin had a drop of cold sweat dripping from his forehead. Master Wu, this classmate Russell from Nanjing University is just a coincidence, a coincidence. Hearing this, the young man showed a playful smile on his face. Russell. As he said, he gently patted the shoulder of the middle-aged man next to him. Master Lin is loyal to the court, how can I blame you? The middle-aged man had a smirk on his face, but he couldn't help thinking in his heart, if you believe what you said, I'm afraid that the body is now stinking in some dark ditch. If it weren't for the fact that he couldn't afford to offend the opposite Russell, he would definitely not arrange for the two to go on the same day. He was just a small base commander, so let them go head to head. The young man cast his gaze at Russell, who was looking at the two of them indifferently. The playful smile on his face faded instantly, and he laughed heartily. Are you the Russell who was accepted as a disciple by Master Bai? My name is Wu Di, nice to meet you. Russell looked expressionlessly at the young man who was performing face-changing in front of him, and said calmly, I am Russell. Can we go in now? Hearing Russell's question, Lord Lin immediately said, Yes, Mr. Luo, you and Mr. Wu can each choose an area. It's just that there is only one piece of material for this, Resort of the Dead, a year. I'm afraid you will have to distribute it among yourselves. Russell sighed. Sure enough. While he was thinking about it, Wu Di had already said with a gentle smile, Brother Luo and I will discuss the ownership of this material ourselves. Lord Lin, you can leave first. Lord Lin disappeared at the entrance of the secret realm in an instant, as if he had been pardoned. Looking at the so-called Lord Lin, Russell sighed inwardly. He is here with bad intentions. He didn't think that Wu Di, who could scare a base commander like this, would be an easy person to deal with. Please come in, Brother Luo. Glancing at Wu Di who was staring at him with a smile, Russell immediately stepped into the secret portal. Seeing Russell disappear in the portal, Wu Di touched his chin with a smile. Master Bai's disciple. What an exciting coincidence. If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 109 Great Kindness. The smell of corruption rushed into Russell's nose. In a flash, Russell appeared in the secret realm of Night Banquet. The entire Night Banquet was shrouded in dark clouds, making it difficult to tell whether it was day or night. The court didn't clean up this environment. Beside Russell, Wu Di was complaining while covering his mouth and nose. Russell frowned and ignored him. At this time, Several card makers stationed in the secret realm were standing in front of the two of them. Mr. Wu, it's not that the court doesn't want to clean up, but this kind of secret realm that produces site-like materials may have an impact on the output of materials once it is cleaned up. Please forgive me, Mr. Wu. The leader of the several card makers had a restrained look on his face. Who is this person? Russell thought to himself. After all, in his opinion, the leader should be a gold-level card maker. But now he is so respectful to Wu Di. Wu Di waved his hand. If my father hadn't forced me to come here, how could I have come to such a place? The leader seemed to know Wu Di's identity, and just smiled and said, Lord Wu is also very thoughtful. This is the map of the Night Banquet, Secret Realm. Please choose an area to harvest. I believe you two already know the rules of the Welfare Secret Realm, so I won't go into details. Hearing this, Russell nodded. It's nothing more than leaving 1/3 of the number of monsters in the area. As if sensing Russell's gaze, Wu Di smiled and said, Brother Luo, choose first. Faced with Wu Di's goodwill, Russell naturally would not refuse. After looking at it for a while, Russell chose an area near the south. Handing the map in his hand to Wu Di casually pointed to an area. I'll choose this one. Then we will withdraw. The leading card maker bowed respectfully to Wu Di, then turned around and left with his people. Watching the backs of several card makers going away, Russell was about to summon Pidgeot to leave when he heard Wu Di's voice. I guess Brother Luo is here for venue materials this time too. After all, you are Master Bai's disciple. Looking at Wu Di's smiling face, although the other party was praising him, Russell always felt that Wu Di's words were a bit sarcastic. You need this material too, right? Wu Di sighed when he heard it. Yeah, I need this material too. What should I do? How about this? After we have swept our respective areas, we will meet in the core area where venue materials are produced and have a fight. The winner takes this year's Residence of Death. Russell thought for a moment and agreed, okay. Seeing that Russell agreed to his proposal, a gloomy look flashed in Wu Di's eyes, but then he clapped his hands and chuckled. Brother Luo is really confident. Then I'll go first. Watching Wu Di riding the vehicle to the area he chose, Russell immediately summoned Pidgeot. Oh, you're so easy to fool. Can you become Master Bai's disciple with such an IQ? Wu Di stepped on the dark ground, looked at the dark cave in front of him, and couldn't help but chuckle. I'll take the place of death. Just as Wu Di was about to step into the cave, a blazing lightning fell from the sky and struck in front of him. The fourth way of breaking the way, white thunder. Along with the flash of lightning, a dull sound of landing came from behind Wu Di. Brother Wu, you are not kind. The overlapping voice came from behind him. Wu Di's face first flashed a touch of surprise, but then turned into a smiling look. You are worthy of being Brother Luo. I didn't fool you. Turning around, what came into Wu Di's eyes was a huge black and red humanoid monster. Next to the monster was a gentle woman with pigtails. The person who came was naturally Russell. After Wu Di left, Russell went directly to the core area of field material production. Anyway, the most important goal of his trip was only this material. Even if Wu Di wanted to argue later, he couldn't find anyone else. It was even more ridiculous to put pressure on Russell through background. In the Ming Dynasty, apart from Yi Diantang, is there anyone older than Bai Yuming? And from what Russell knew, Yi Diantang also grew up from a commoner and was still unmarried. It obviously didn't fit the claim that there were card makers stationed in the secret realm. Besides, doing so could effectively prevent Wu Di from playing tricks. Now, he caught Wu Di who was about to do something bad. Tisk, it's a problem if you can't see through your little trick. Russell's disdainful sneer sounded in the field. At this point, there's nothing to say, right? It seems that we still have to fight. Wu Di's face froze when he heard Russell's ridicule, but he shrugged immediately. Indeed, but it's a bit boring to fight directly. Russell was stunned. Then how do you say to fight? He was already prepared. If the other party was going to have an unlimited wild fight, he would definitely not agree. After all, the camera next to him was still filming. Besides, the conflict between the two was not so big that they had to fight to the death. But Wu Di's next words surprised Russell. Well, why don't we make cards directly on the spot, and then use the finished cards to fight? How about it? I'll provide the materials. After all, if the cards are on CD, it will be more troublesome for the two of us to harvest this secret realm later. Russell looked at Wu Di taking out several sets of materials from his body, and couldn't help but exclaim in his heart, where did this innocent good man come from? He now retracted his previous prejudice against Wu Di. Wu Di is the brother of his long-lost adoptive father and mother. However, to be on the safe side, he still asked carefully, "Will your family have any objections to your doing this?" Wu Di now gave him the feeling that his father's land was sold out by his son without any regret. Hearing this, Wu Di looked indifferent. "At most, I will tell them that the card making failed. If the card making fails, the materials will disappear. This is a good excuse. After all, no one dares to guarantee that they can make a card 100% successfully." Wu Di is not without other considerations. He glanced at the surveillance camera obscurely. If the person present now is an ordinary card maker with no background, he will not have any consequences if he robs and even kills the other party. The card maker in the secret realm will even help him clean up the mess. It's a pity that the person standing opposite him now is Bai Yuming's disciple Luo Su. Now that Luo Su has discovered his stealing behavior, he is not going to make it so ugly. And if this matter really gets out of hand, he will definitely be beaten and scolded by his father when he returns home, so this set of materials also has a bit of silence and compensation. Besides, a set of silver-level materials is just a drop in the bucket for the Wu family. Besides, he had already thought about the relevant settings for these sets of materials. Compared with Russell, who just got the materials, he has an absolute advantage. It's just that Lord Lin seems to be going to give me a beating. Wu Di thought without any emotion in his heart, "He's plotting against me." Wu Di naturally knew Lord Lin's thoughts very well, and it was nothing more than not offending both sides. But you know, sometimes fence-sitters die the worst. Although he was thinking about how to deal with Lord Lin, Wu Di still smiled and asked, "What do you think? Brother Luo, do you want to take it? But if Brother Luo takes it, I hope you don't tell outsiders about the specific situation here." Faced with such a good thing that fell from the sky, how could Russell refuse? "Then I'd rather obey your order. I got off work a little late today, and there is another chapter that I may not be able to write today. If I can't write it, I will put it aside and update 3 chapters together with tomorrow." Chapter 110, Pure White Knight Princess. Wu Di has 3 sets of materials in his hand. Russell now always has the illusion that he is selecting the 3 great families. After taking the materials, Russell took a rough look. After coming to this world for so long, he has made some progress. With the teachings in school and reading books about card making every day, Russell can make some rough judgments about what kind of cards can be made with the general materials. After all, even if he is not going to make mythical cards, knowing more will be helpful in actual combat. I don't know if it is because the card maker has a strong mental power. Russell has basically reached the level of photographic memory. Focusing on the 3 sets of materials in his hand, Russell can see that one set is Mengpo, because several of the materials in it are very similar to the one Bai Yuming gave him before, but the quality is not that high. Russell can't tell the materials of the remaining 2 sets, but based on the materials, it should be the underworld god in some mythology. And the last set, silver level, Wandering Crown Prince, gold, silver level, Blood of Red Dragon, gold, silver level, Sword of the Chosen King, gold. Is this King Arthur? Russell asked Wu Di, holding this set of materials. Wu Di was stunned when he heard Russell's question. "You can actually recognize it. I'll choose this one." Russell had already prepared a plan in his mind, leaving this set of materials and handing the other 2 sets of materials back to Wu Di. Wu Di was a little surprised. "I thought you would choose Mengpo's set." After all, Russell was Bai Yuming's disciple, so it's no wonder he thought so. But he wouldn't persuade Russell too much. After all, that set was just for the subordinates to honor their fathers, and it didn't match his system at all. Now that Russell chose King Arthur's set of materials, it would be the best. Speaking of which, I don't know where the subordinates found such a set of materials that don't conform to the national conditions of the Ming Dynasty. If they want to climb up, they don't know how to understand his situation first. And according to the records in his family's books, even in Britain, the highest King Arthur who has only appeared is only gold level. Now the set Russell has is only silver level materials, and it is estimated that he can't make a very powerful King Arthur. Then let's get started. As Wu Di's voice fell, Russell sketched a blonde girl in a white skirt on the blank card. Russell will definitely not create the original legendary King Arthur. After all, he has better choices. Please start compiling your story. In the 5th century AD, the British Isles fell into a situation of internal strife. Uther Pendragon, one of the princes of Britannia, was defeated by the humble King Vortigern, So he placed his hopes on the next generation. King Uther and the royal magician Merlin planned to create a new king who was beyond mortals. The bloodline of the British king. Representing the Red Dragon of Britain, the future Night King, the Red Dragon of Britain, Altria Pendragon, was born. Since Artoria was a woman and could not directly inherit the throne, she was sent to the house of Hector to be raised, and met her sworn brother, Qi. Since then, Artoria has lived a poor life in her adoptive father's house and was trained as a king. When Artoria was 15 years old, her father King Uther died. According to Merlin's prophecy, the next king will be the one who pulls out the sword in the stone in the National Church Cemetery. Many knights have tried, but no one has succeeded. Just when everyone doubted the authenticity of Merlin's prophecy, Artoria, who had been hiding her identity, walked to the sword in the stone. Artoria knew very well that after pulling out the sword, she would no longer be the carefree girl in the past, but would become a king. A king who protects the people. Without any hesitation, she pulled out the sword in the stone, Caliber, the Sword of Oath Gold. The Sword of the Oath of Gold, as a ritual sword, has a stronger symbolic meaning, but this does not mean that it has no power. At the cost of collapse, the Sword of the Oath of Gold can release a powerful beam impact after releasing its true name. After pulling out the sword in the stone, Artoria felt that she did not have the courage to become a king, so she embarked on a journey with her brother and Merlin. During the journey, the upright Artoria often meddled in other people's affairs. Fortunately, her red dragon blood gave her powerful fighting power, and with the blessing of martial arts, she could turn danger into safety. In Great Britain, Artoria left many adventure legends. And the people she rescued also called her the Pure White Knight. At the end of the journey, Artoria felt that she was qualified to inherit the throne, so she embarked on the journey home. Pure White Knight Princess Altria rank, Silver quality, Red category, Biological skills, Magic release, strengthen your weapons and body through magic. Caliber, Oath of Gold Sword, the symbol of the king. Once the true name is released, it will release a huge power, but because the sword body cannot withstand Altria's magic, it will collapse after releasing it once. Note, after the collapse, it will enter a one-day cooldown period. Features, intuition, can instantly understand the most beneficial actions in battle. Red Dragon Blood, possessing the blood of the highest fantasy dragon. Not only is the body's strength far beyond that of ordinary people, but the magic power in the body is also very huge. Leader temperament, the girl who has been trained as a king since childhood is born with a leader's temperament. When on the field with other cards at the same time, it can slightly enhance the abilities of other cards. The amplification effect of the card bound by Round Table Knights is doubled. Flower Journey, the girl on the road to becoming a king receives countless blessings, and those who fight with her will be immune to negative emotional effects of silver level and below. Introduction, a simple girl knight who has not yet experienced the baptism of blood and fire. Advancement, silver level, Pure White Knight Princess, Altria, Emerald level, King of Knights, Altria, Master level, Lion King, Altria, Bond. When it appears at the same time with Lancelot and other series, the effect, Round Table Knights, can be activated. When it appears at the same time with Morgan and other series, the effect, Sisterly Love, can be activated. Looking at the floating card in front of him, Russell smiled. Success. And Altria can actually advance to the master level. Logically, the Lion King should be considered an if-line. Oh, the Saber Lily I am driving now is also an if-line? That's fine. But in the end it is good news, and Russell didn't get too entangled. After checking the information carefully, Russell touched his chin. Very good. Very energetic. The two characteristics of leadership temperament and flower journey may not have a big impact on the daily card maker duel. But if Russell is now in the north, I'm afraid that these two characteristics alone can make him a small officer. It's a pity that this time it's a complete one-on-one, and these two characteristics are useless, but fortunately Lily still has Caliber as a killer. The full strength attack of the silver level red card at the cost of breaking the sword is definitely not to be underestimated. After taking back the card, Russell looked at Wu Di, and seeing that the other party still closed his eyes, he couldn't help but sighed. Not ready yet. After work, I started writing without even having dinner. Wait for the author to have a meal and rest for a while, and there will be 2 more chapters later. Chapter 111 Caliburn. Captain, they are about to fight. Do we really not need to stop them? In a bright room somewhere, A young man was asking the card maker who had just received Russell and the other two. Upon hearing this, the captain glanced at the young man and said unhappily, "Why are we getting involved when gods are fighting? We can't afford to offend either side. And everyone knows that young Master Wu wanted to become Master Bai's apprentice a few years ago, but was rejected. Be careful if you get in the way, or he will come after you later." As a gold-level card maker, the captain naturally knew the twists and turns here. But he was not interested in getting involved. If he was not the only gold-level card maker in the night banquet, secret realm, he would have asked for leave today. The young man laughed and did not ask any more questions. The captain turned his head to look at the surveillance screen, but was stunned. He saw that Russell in the picture had opened his eyes and was looking around. This disciple of Master Bai makes cards so quickly. The captain said in disbelief. The young man couldn't help but say, "Master Bai's disciple just got the materials, so they made it so quickly. I'm afraid the quality won't be too high." Hearing this, the captain touched his chin and said, "It seems that Master Wu is going to win. But there's nothing we can do. Anyone in this situation will suffer. I don't know why Master Bai's disciple agreed to this condition." The young man scratched his head and said, "Maybe because he is greedy for those materials." The captain looked at the young man as if he was an idiot. "Do you think he has a card-making loan to pay back like you?" Ignoring the young man, the captain looked at the screen and muttered to himself, "Could it be that Master Bai's disciple is really sure?" He naturally didn't think that Russell would covet such a set of silver-level materials. Since he was willing to take on this duel, it means that Master Bai's disciple must be somewhat confident. But looking at Wu Di, who still had his eyes closed, the captain suppressed this funny idea in his heart. After all, making cards quickly does not mean that the cards are strong. There was silence in the monitoring room for a while, and the captain spoke again. "No, I still have to go to the scene to take a look. I'll leave this to you." On the other side, just as Russell was bored and wondering why Wu Di was not well yet, the other party suddenly opened his eyes. At this time, a card was also floating in front of Wu Di. After putting the card into his mind, Wu Di showed a hint of excitement on his face. But then he saw Russell staring at him. "Brother Luo, so fast." Wu Di was a little skeptical about life. It was obviously him who provided the material, and he couldn't understand why Russell made the card faster than him. Wu Di couldn't help but say, "Brother Luo, there is no need to do this. If you just admit defeat, I won't take the material back." He thought Russell was giving up on himself and made a card casually based on the quality of the material. Hearing this, Russell looked at him with some doubt. "Since it's alright, let's get started." Seeing that Russell did not respond directly, Wu Di thought he was just a weak man, and sneered in his heart, "Master Bai, is this your vision?" However, when Russell called out his card, Wu Di fell into stagnation. In front of Russell, a lively girl wearing a white skirt and armor and with her blonde hair tied into a ponytail with a black ribbon appeared. "Are you King Arthur?" Wu Di looked at Russell in disbelief. Russell hesitated and nodded. Wu Di turned his head to look at the girl again, and a surge of anger surged in his heart. King Arthur is a woman? What a joke. Where did this wild history come from? It was too wild. He thought Russell was playing him like a monkey. Taking a deep breath, Wu Di calmed himself down. He called out the card he had just made. It was an old woman holding a porcelain bowl. Mengpo seeing the appearance of Wu Di's card, Russell understood. The current situation is interesting. If someone does not know the situation, they might think that Wu Di is Bai Yuming's disciple. When Mengpo appeared on the field, the atmosphere gradually became solemn. Altria and Mengpo stared at each other for a long time, but still chose to attack first. A dark blue glow appeared on Altria's body. The next moment, the ground under her feet was instantly broken. When she appeared again, she was already in front of Mengpo. Looking at Altria in front of her, there was no panic on Mengpo's old face. The blood-yellow water flow appeared out of thin air, and in the blink of an eye it was about to drown Altria. Boom! The roaring sword wind raged and broke a big hole in the water flow. Altria stood not far from Mengpo with a solemn expression. Just at the moment when the water flow appeared, her intuition told her that if she touched it, she would definitely be injured. Can you still summon the water of the Nile River? Let's not talk about Wu Di's character, but his card-making skills are okay. Russell saw the source of the blood-yellow water flow at a glance. In the field, looking at Mengpo who was surrounded by the surging blood-yellow river water in the distance, Altria couldn't help but tighten the hilt of the sword in her hand. But Mengpo was unwilling to let Altria go. She just stroked the bowl in her hand. A colorful halo instantly spread throughout the field. However, nothing happened. What? Wu Di was a little stunned. Looking at Altria, who was wondering what happened, he turned his eyes to Russell on the side. Russell naturally knew what Mengpo had done. The bowl in Mengpo's hand was filled with a soup that was a mixture of sour, sweet, bitter, spicy and salty. Sour, sweet, bitter, spicy and salty, sadness, joy, anger, sorrow and fear. It is also commonly known as Mengpo soup. After drinking it, it can make people forget their previous lives and arouse their 7 emotions and 6 desires. Unfortunately, Flower Journey, the girl on the road to becoming a king, receives countless blessings, and those who fight with her will be immune to negative emotional effects of silver level and below. Russell estimated that Wu Di's Mengpo should also have the skill to make the card forget, but it is not something that can be done by stroking the bowl. Otherwise, it would be too supermodel. Seeing that Altria had no reaction, Mengpo's face sank. The little girl opposite gave her a strange feeling. There was the breath of the human emperor, and the blood of the dragon clan. But looking at Altria's golden hair, Mengpo couldn't help muttering to herself, "The barbarians are too chaotic." Altria looked at the growing blood-yellow river, knowing that she couldn't drag it on. Fortunately, in her opinion, although the old woman opposite was very powerful in attack and defense, her speed was very slow. In this case, Altria took a deep breath, held the hilt of the sword with both hands, and raised it above her head. Caliburn. She released the true name of the golden sword of oath, and the golden beam of light that penetrated the sky and the earth was reflected in the eyes of Mengpo and Wu Di. Wu Di's face changed drastically, and he couldn't help but yelled, "Get out of the way." Russell glanced at Wu Di and complained in his heart, "Do you think it's a Pokemon? Get out of the way." The next moment, a golden beam of light slashed towards Mengpo. Chapter 112. This is a new version of King Arthur that you have never seen. Fuck, what's going on? Not far from the core area, the captain was riding on a giant eagle, looking at the golden beam of light that pierced through the dark clouds in the distance. Such a big commotion? Are they really silver level? The captain muttered to himself, patted the giant eagle, and accelerated to fly towards the destination. Facing the golden beam of light that was slashing towards her, Mengpo's expression remained unchanged. The surging water of the Nile River kept rushing towards it. Z. The sound of water vapor evaporating kept ringing in the field. Unfortunately, the golden beam of light was not hindered at all. A moment later, the golden beam of light slashed on the ground. Huge vibrations came one after another. In contrast, the golden sword of oath in Altria's hand gradually broke. This was her full strength attack. If Mengpo was not dead yet, then she had no choice. Without the weapon in hand, her strength was reduced by at least 70 to 80%. After a while, the golden beam of light gradually disappeared. At this time, there was no trace of Mengpo on the earth. Yes, it's just a terrifying gully that stretches for 7 or 8 kilometers. Seeing this, Altria and Russell couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. It seems that I won. Russell turned his head and looked at Wu Di on the side. Wu Di's face was as black as charcoal now. "I'm not as good as you, I admit defeat." He now knew that Russell did not lie to him. After all, he heard the girl's cry clearly just now. Caliburn, also known as the so-called Golden Sword of Oath, is the first sword in the legend of King Arthur. It was just that it was broken later because King Arthur violated the chivalry in the battle, and was replaced by Excalibur, the Sword of Oath of Victory. But, is this sword of King Arthur really legal? Looking at the young girl knight in front of him who looked underage, Wu Di couldn't help but ask his soul in his heart. And he had never heard that King Arthur could have such an exaggerated means of attack. You know, the material he gave Russell was only silver grade. Fortunately, he proposed a one-on-one match. Russell was not proud of this. This Mengpo is obviously a supporting role. Before she could spread out, Lily took her away with a gamble. Until the end of the battle, in Russell's sight, Mengpo's Nile River water seemed to be endless. Although there must be an upper limit, at least Russell didn't try it out. And Mengpo can definitely exert positive emotional influence on her own cards. One-on-one, facing Lily with a light cannon, it really can't get anything good. At this moment, a voice came from mid-air, attracting the attention of Russell and the others. Looking up, the person who came was the captain of the card maker stationed in the secret realm. The captain looked at the terrifying gully in front of him with a shocked face, and couldn't help thinking in his heart, is this really a silver level card? The power of this one can catch up with the ordinary gold level. Suppressing the boiling emotions in his heart, the captain turned his head and looked at Russell and the others. Are you two not injured? Hearing this, Russell shook his head, and Woody said impatiently, if you are fine, go back first. Seeing this, the captain shuddered instantly. Yes, then I won't bother Mr. Wu. Looking at the captain's back, Russell said, then according to the agreement, I will take this year's return of death. Woody forced a smile on his face. Brother Luo, please do as you please. Seeing Woody's appearance, Russell immediately stopped provoking him and turned to walk towards the cave. Seeing Russell walk into the cave, Woody could no longer suppress his anger. Fuck. The reason why he was so angry was not only because he was defeated by Russell, but also because he felt sorry for the material he gave to Russell. It was because he was full of confidence and thought that Russell would definitely not be able to make a card stronger than his in such a short time. In the end, reality gave him a hard slap in the face, and then told him that you are indeed not as good as Russell, otherwise Master Bai would not have accepted Russell as his disciple instead of you. The most ridiculous thing is that the rules of this duel are in his favor. Suppressing the anger in his heart, Woody's eyes became gloomy. There are still many days to come, Russell. Just wait and see. He, the young Master Wu, was not willing to play tricks. If he wanted to defeat Russell, he had to defeat him fairly. For example, the national competition is a good opportunity. After getting his mood in order, Woody flew towards the exit of the secret realm with a gloomy face. As for the materials in the secret realm, a pile of rags, the young master of the Wu family would not look down on them. After all, their Wu family has its own secret realm output. In the dark cave, Russell originally thought that he had to search for a while before he could find the return of death. Who would have thought that after entering the cave, it was not a winding tunnel, but a spacious venue. In the center of the venue, a piece of material was floating on a dark vortex. Russell came to the vortex and used his mental power to touch the material. With a pull of mental power, the material slowly came into Russell's hands. Silver level field material, destination of death, red. Red quality. This was the second time Russell had seen red quality materials. Thinking of the card Woody had just used, Russell chuckled. No wonder he also wanted this material. Putting away the material, Russell looked around. He always felt that this place was so big that it should not be just for the purpose of saving this material. When Russell, who was wandering around, came to a dark corner, his eyes suddenly fixed. There was a strange symbol in the corner. If ordinary people saw this symbol, they might ignore it. But Russell would not. Because he had seen this symbol before, on the diary obtained in Sword Lake. Unfortunately, there was only this symbol in this cave. Looking at the bare walls around, Russell could be sure that something must have been recorded here before, but now it has been erased. Thinking of the diary found in the secret realm of Sword Lake, before, that kind of situation is rare after all. Firstly, the Sword Lake was under control for a short time, and secondly, it was easier to hide a diary. But speaking of it, I still don't know what was written in that diary. The main reason was that Russell did not find similar things in other secret realms. However, he was indeed curious about the real reason why the secret realm appeared. After all, the sea shard he saw in the Black Flag secret realm clearly showed that some secret realms were not of their original size. Maybe it had something to do with the reason why he came to this world. In addition, the frequency of the secret realms appeared more and more frequently, and the Qi Ling would act frantically. The most important thing was the strange attitude of the mysterious space towards him. It always made Russell feel that a storm was coming and the building was about to collapse. You should die with a clear mind. There was no way to escape. After all, he felt that he had been appointed by the mysterious space. I just don't know if he was an exception or there were others. Suppressing the emotions in his heart, Russell turned around and left the cave. Time was tight, and he had to rush to harvest the monsters in the area he chose. Chapter 113, Surita. That's it. Standing on a high ground, Russell was looking at the demons wandering below. A group of cards were standing beside him. At this time, Lily was holding a branch picked up from the ground. With a blessing of the magic power released, it could barely be used as a sword, which was much better than being empty-handed. It feels like there are too many of them. I don't know if it's because of the secret realm of Night Banquet itself, or because the card makers stationed in the secret realm are too lazy. There are at least more than 20 demons wandering in the area chosen by Russell. However, according to his mental exploration, there should be only 2 silver-level demons in it. Speaking of which, when the card maker does not make special reconnaissance cards, he usually acts as an informant. I don't know if the demons here have IQ. Looking at the demons who were gurgling and quacking below, Russell thought to himself. He has entered several secret realms now, and the demons in Black Flag and Sword Lake have clearly shown a high level of intelligence. Judging from their appearance, it is even difficult to tell the difference from normal people. Sister Lai, I leave it to you. Luosu naturally would not rashly let the card rush down. Anyway, Anohana Lai has her long-range attack method, so it is better to use the ghost way to clean it up first. Listening to the gentle female voice singing softly, Luosu silently waited for the next attack. The 88th Breaking Dao, Flying Dragon Strike Thief Thunder Cannon. The huge blue thunder beam instantly illuminated the dark environment. The demons below were also attracted by the light in the sky and looked up involuntarily. The next moment, the ruthless thunder descended on them. Boom! A deafening sound rang out in the field. The smoke dissipated, and more than half of the demons that had gathered together had fallen down at this time, lying on the ground with charred bodies. Luosu sniffed the smell like barbecue coming from below. It smells a bit fragrant, however. Although most of the demons below were dead or injured, the remaining demons did not flee in all directions. Instead, they gathered together and kept roaring. Something is wrong. Luosu frowned and looked at the strange scene below. In his eyes, the remaining demons behaved strangely. It was as if they were calling for something. Dong dong. The dull footsteps gradually came from afar. Sure enough, the huge figure walking in the distance confirmed Russell's guess. The ugly face of the newly appeared demon was revealed to everyone. The foul-smelling saliva kept dripping from the corners of his mouth. Seeing this, Russell calmly summoned Pidgeot and flew into the air. Since the newcomer was not friendly, he would not hinder the use of his cards below. Just after Russell flew into the air, Lily instantly released blue magic to strengthen the branch in her hand. Stepping on the ground, with a powerful reaction force, Lily came to the side of the ugly demon in an instant. Dong! The demon's huge right fist hit the branch in Lily's hand heavily. A gust of wind was set off in the field. Not a sword really affects the combat effectiveness. Russell watched this scene silently in midair. If it was the sword of Oath Gold, this demon would have lost at least one arm. It's not like he can fight Lily on equal terms now. But Russell cast his eyes on Anohana. Lily was just trying to buy her time. The turbid emblem is faintly revealed, the talent is unruly and arrogant, the tide, denial, paralysis, a moment, hindering the long sleep as Anohana chanted. The ugly demon seemed to feel a great threat. He opened his fists left and right and kept hitting Lily. Boom boom boom. Huge roars continued to sound in the field. Lily responded to the ugly demon's attack with a calm face. She used a branch as if it were a magic weapon. The next moment, her intuition conveyed a huge sense of threat to her. With a reaction force generated by the fight with the ugly demon, Lily quickly retreated. The crawling princess of steel, the clay doll that keeps hurting itself, combine, rebound, and extend to the ground, and realize your own powerlessness. The 90 point of the broken path, black coffin. The huge black coffin instantly enveloped the ugly demon. Densely packed black swords pierced into the coffin. The black coffin dissipated, and the ugly demon with blood holes all over his body appeared on the scene. The next moment, Lily appeared in front of the ugly demon again, holding a branch and stabbing it hard into the opponent's heart. The ugly demon let out a deafening wail and fell to the ground, not knowing whether he was dead or alive. However, although the opponent had fallen, Russell still did not dare to be careless. Jigoe Yuanai also released the first release at the right time. A slash with golden red flames instantly split the ugly demon lying on the ground into two. This should be dead. Russell carefully wrapped his mental power around it. The next moment, a piece of material was extracted from the ugly demon's body. Silver level, ugly demon, gold. After putting away the material, Russell began to clean up the battlefield. As for the remaining demons, they had already disappeared without a trace when the ugly demon fell. This disciple of Master Bai is really cautious enough. At this time, the captain had returned to the monitoring room and watched Russell's entire battle. Much stronger than when you first came. The captain said this to the young man. The young man showed an embarrassed look on his face. I didn't expect this, ugly demon, to pretend to be dead. That's right, when he first arrived to clean up the secret realm, he also encountered Ugly Demon. It's just that he had just started his internship and was careless and had no habit of finishing off the enemy. He was almost taken away by the Ugly Demon's dying counterattack. Fortunately, the captain was by his side to save him. But is the card he just made really silver level? In order to avoid his own dark history, the young man changed the subject abruptly and said, "I feel like I'm a fake silver level." The captain sighed when he heard this. Geniuses like them are born to be different from us. A little bit of attack is our limit. This is still the captain flattering himself. You know, the current number one person in the Ming dynasty is the same age as him, but he is already a hall level. He can't even see his back. Shaking off the strange thoughts in his mind, the captain sighed, unlike us card makers who are living a life of eating and waiting to die in the secret realm. Geniuses like them, exploring the newly appeared secret realm is the place. Hearing this, the young man nodded in agreement. Although exploring the newly appeared secret realm is very dangerous, the opposite is a huge reward. As long as the snowball starts rolling, the gap between genius card makers and ordinary people will only get bigger and bigger. Just like Russell and the students of Shanghai No. 1 Middle School. What a great harvest. After cleaning up the battlefield, Russell harvested 11 bronze level, little inferior demons, blue, and 2 silver level, inferior demons, blue. It's just that the quality is a bit low. It should be because of the welfare secret realm. Russell could understand it. After all, the secret realm under the control of the Ming dynasty could not allow demons to grow wantonly. To be honest, apart from the venue materials, it was a pleasant surprise to get a piece of silver level material of gold quality. After collecting the materials, Russell immediately rode Pidgeot to the exit of the secret realm. After the harvest, it was natural to convert the materials into combat power. After leaving the secret realm, Russell reported to the people at the base and returned home. He had a general idea of the materials in his hand. First of all the bronze level materials were sold on the trading website, and he got 4 million. At this time, Russell's assets returned to 6 million again. But money is not very useful to him at the moment. Now he can understand why his senior sister lives in such a big manor. He had nothing to spend his silver level money on, let alone a diamond level card maker. Of course, part of the reason was that he was an outlier among the silver level cards. The materials for the 2 silver level cards Russell had on hand were all sponsored by others. Hanaritsu was provided by his teacher, and Lily was provided by his enemy Woody. For a normal card maker, he would still be short of money for a long time after being promoted until he made a card of his own level, and then he could take a breath. Putting down the idea of buying a house in his mind, Russell began to think about the use of the remaining materials. He was not going to use the 2 blue quality silver level materials to exchange for other materials. First, the blue quality did not meet his requirements for making cards. Second, he planned to keep them in his hands as a handling fee for exchanging materials in the future. After all, there were not always suitable materials, and he would definitely have to find Mr. Wang to exchange materials. As for Ugly Demon, combined with the Two-Faced Man materials he had on hand, he did have some ideas. It just needed to be improved. He was not in a hurry. Finally, this is the most important material this time, Russell muttered as he looked at the Destination of Death in his hand. I don't know what kind of field card can be made from the red quality field material. Russell's mind moved slightly, and the cards of Yoriichi Tsugikuni and Hanaritsu instantly appeared in front of him. As he slowly wrapped his mental power around Destination of Death and the 2 cards, a dark light instantly bloomed in the house. After a long time, the house returned to peace. At this time, Destination of Death had disappeared. Instead, it was replaced by a card that was glittering with light. Putting the other 2 cards back into his mind, Russell carefully examined the newly appeared card. I saw that this card had a huge wall that surrounded the houses in a circle, and the card surface was almost the same as the Soul Society in Russell's memory. Putting the card into his mind, Russell carefully checked the effect of his first field card. Sarita. Rank, Silver Diamond Quality, Red Category, Field Effect, go to 13. The overall abilities of the Shinigami cards on the field will be slightly improved. Soul's Home, when you kill a non-soul demon, you will draw a wisp of soul from the demon's death. The drawn soul can be used to strengthen the Shinigami cards. Banned, the card rank must reach Emerald level, 0 squad, When there are 4 captain-level Shinigami cards on the field, you can summon the card, 0 Squad Leader, real name Call Monk. Banned, the card rank must reach Diamond level, 3 realms, when you hold the field cards, Sarita, and all 3 field cards have reached the upper limit, you can activate the effect, Soul King Resurrection. Note, the effect of Soul King Resurrection lasts for 10 minutes. Note, after activating the effect, Soul King Resurrection, the 3 field cards will enter a 30-day cooldown period. Russell looked at the card information in a bit of surprise. Unlike biological cards, field cards can continue to upgrade their levels as long as matching materials are invested in later. However, the upper limit of each field card has been fixed after being generated by the mysterious space. Russell was not particularly surprised by the previous effects, except that Soul's Home was somewhat similar to the Human Emperor banner. The key lies in the last effect, 3 realms. Combining the information before and after this effect, plus the name of the 3 realms, Russell can infer what the remaining 2 cards are, which should be the present world Karakura Town and Hueco Mundo Hueco Night Palace. The problem is that when he was with Kuretsugu Kuniichi and Anohanaritsu, the Soul King didn't mention it at all. But now these 3 field cards can activate the effect of Soul King Resurrection. Am I really the biological son of the mysterious space? Russell now doubts his identity. He can now be sure that this world must have some connection with the world before he crossed over. I just don't know why he was chosen, just because he is a second-dimensional? But in general, it is definitely good to have one more powerful effect. Even if Russell doesn't know when this effect can be triggered. After all, the level of Karakura Town and Kurea Palace will definitely not be lower than that of Soul Society, plus the production of supporting cards. The material consumption makes Russell's scalp numb just thinking about it. And he doesn't just have a set of Death God cards, but also many other systems of cards. Let's take it one step at a time, and don't force it. After making a decision in his heart, Russell put away Sarita. The next time is naturally the time to replenish mana. Since Russell didn't spend much time in the Night Banquet, Secret Realm, he still caught up with Monday's class. Monday was still a theoretical class. After class, Russell looked through the next course. Is this practical training class on Wednesday for us to practice in the Secret Realm? Looking at the courses on the schedule, Russell asked Hikishao beside him. Hikishao nodded after hearing this. You should be entering a silver-level Secret Realm. Although these Secret Realms are not that dangerous, we still have to sign an agreement. But since you have already applied for the card-making department, I believe you should not be opposed to this, Russell. Russell nodded slightly. This was not unexpected to him. Although they are still freshmen after all, if something happens in the Secret Realm, the school will definitely not take responsibility. After all, you have applied for the card-making department, and you must have made relevant psychological preparations. Of course, there are also many students who, after 2 years of practical training courses, apply to be stationed card makers in the Secret Realms they have already controlled during their junior internship. It seems that Yoshinobu is not in a hurry to upgrade. Russell originally planned to use the materials given by the Spirit Begging Society to upgrade Yoshinobu. However, since Yoshinobu has to take some dangerous practical training courses now, except for Pokemon battles, he has no other tasks for the time being, so he can consider using them to upgrade Symbiote Arrogance. As for the upgrade materials, he could completely attribute it to the gains from the Night Banquet this time. After all, the symbiote didn't look that good, and others had no way of knowing what materials he used to upgrade. If the materials weren't insufficient, Pidgeot would also need to be replaced. The iron-level Pidgeotism mount is now completely unable to keep up with Russell's level. After this practical training course is over, it is necessary to consider replacing it. Chapter 114 Triple Agent. The day's classes ended quickly. However, until Russell left school, Mr. Chai from the Battle Club did not inform him that someone had challenged him. He originally thought that there would definitely be students who thought he won by luck and challenged him today. Could it be that Sister Lai's performance was too terrifying? Russell scratched his head and thought. In fact, this was also his wrong thinking. Although the information about Anohana was indeed exposed, the half-collapsed ruins of the battle platform on the top of the mountain were still there for a day. Those who want to challenge him will always weigh their own considerations after seeing that scene. Besides, Guanji's card information has been exposed more than him. Hasn't he been challenged much? If you want to challenge Russell, you should beat Guanji first. At the school gate, Russell was about to go home when he thought of Wu Di, whom he met in the secret realm of Night Banquet before. After thinking for a while, he decided to go to Myoxun to ask about Wu Di. Although Myoxun said that the Qi Ling Society would reduce contact with him in the future, she didn't say that he couldn't go to Myoxun to inquire about information. Besides, if he was really discovered, Russell could just say that he went to a brothel. Only his personal reputation might be ruined a little. Well, in this world, going to a brothel might not be considered a big deal. Of course, this refers to people in society who have graduated and started working. Top students from Nanjing University also go to brothels. Russell listened to the taxi driver's words without changing his expression and came to the headquarters of Yichuan. Uncle Luo, you are here. Do you need me to arrange 2 girls for you? It was still the familiar madam, who smiled flatteringly when she saw Russell. Russell waved his hand and said, I'm here to see Mr. Meow, you just do your thing. The madam bent her waist and watched Russell get on the elevator. A heavily made-up girl next to her showed a curious look. Mom, who is this? The madam glanced at the girl with a squint. Don't ask about things you shouldn't ask. You just need to know that Uncle Luo is the small boss of our Yichuan. This was what Miao Zhuan told her. The girl shut her mouth. Although she had only been in Yichun court for a short time, she had already developed her perceptiveness. Since the madam said so, she would not ask any more questions. After all, as an ordinary person, sometimes knowing something that should not be known can lead to fatal disasters. Why are you here? In the office on the top floor, Miao Zhuan was bored and swiping her tablet. Nandu is not like Shanghai after all. As the head of the Qi Ling Society in Nandu, she has very few things to do in her daily life. I want to ask you something. Russell sat down on the sofa. Wu Di, have you heard of this name? Hearing this, Miao Zhuan put down the tablet in her hand and looked at Russell with a pair of foxy eyes. Why? Did you run into him? I know. Russell's heart trembled. Since Miao Zhuan said so, it must be that she had not just heard of the other party's name, but had actually come into contact with the other party. Russell immediately recounted what happened in the night banquet. Of course, he only talked about things like card battles in a rough way. Miao Zhuan listened to Russell's story quietly, with a strange look on her face. I really didn't expect you to meet him so early. Should I say you were lucky or unlucky? But thinking that Russell got a set of materials from Wu Di for free, Miao Zhuan still attributed him to the lucky side. Do you want to know why Wu Di is hostile to you? Russell nodded. He came here for this matter. In addition, he also wanted to find out whether the Qi Ling Society has any relationship with the court. Seeing Luo Su nod, Miao Zhuan showed a sly smile on her face. Beg me, and I will tell you. Hearing this, Luo Su could not help but be speechless. Is it fun to always play this routine? You don't really want to be an old cow eating young grass. Miao Zhuan couldn't help rolling her eyes and said unhappily, Tisk, it's meaningless. Wu Di tried to become Bai Yuming's apprentice a few years ago, but failed. You can find out about this matter by asking around. There are quite a lot of people who know about it. Luo Su nodded slightly, and then he understood why he felt that Wu Di had some bad intentions towards him. Although Wu Di smiled all the time when talking to him, he gave Luo Su the feeling of a smiling tiger. You better be careful later. Wu Di is a petty person and he will not let it go. Miao Zhuan picked up the tablet again. Anything else? Indeed, there is one more thing. Russell's hesitant voice sounded in the office. Is there a rift between the court and the association? Do we have the chance to do something? Of course, he couldn't ask directly whether the Qi Ling Association was colluding with the court, so he could only pretend to be concerned about the development of the Qi Ling Association and ask indirectly. However, just after he finished these words, the office fell into silence. Miao Zhuan held the tablet steadily. After a long while, Miao Zhuan asked dryly, how did you know? Russell knew that the other party was asking how he knew that there was a rift between the court and the association. He couldn't help rolling his eyes. It's so obvious, you'd be a fool not to see it, right? After speaking, he told him about the unified examination of Jiang province and what happened when he went to choose the welfare secret realm. After listening to Russell's story, Maya Oxun couldn't help but mutter, don't you even want to act now? Maya Oxun thought he couldn't hear her muttering, but Russell, with his arrogance, could barely hear what he said. Sure enough, the Qi Ling Society has known about this for a long time. Putting down the tablet in her hand, Maya Oxuan said to Russell with a serious face, the society will make its own decision on this matter. Just don't spread it around. Seeing Maya Oxuan so serious, Russell nodded without changing his expression. I know. There's nothing else left, so I'll leave first. Silently watching Russell leave, Maya Oxuan sighed. I don't know if the society's plan can catch up. Outside Yichin courtyard, Russell thought about what Maya Oxuan had just said. Maya Oxuan's attitude itself explained one thing. The Qi Ling Society had known about the discord between the court and the association for a long time. As for whether the Qi Ling Society had any connection with the court, Russell was inclined to believe that there was. Otherwise, the Qi Ling Society's first reaction to receiving such news should be to sow discord and fan the flames in the middle in order to gain benefits. But at the moment, Miao Zhuan's words meant to stay put. After all, if they really wanted to sow discord, Russell's identity would definitely be a very useful pawn. He didn't think the Qi Ling Society would continue to let him fish. Of course, it is also possible that the Qi Ling Society wanted to sit on the mountain and watch the tigers fight. But Russell was still prepared to imagine the worst-case scenario. It's just that my identity is a bit dangerous now. By Yu Ming's disciple, the inner traitor of the Qi Ling Society. Russell is now caught between three forces. I always feel that I might overturn if I'm not careful. Thinking of this, Russell sighed. In the final analysis, he was too weak. The silver level was far from enough for him to protect himself in such a big force. Russell silently felt his mental strength. It would not be a quick breakthrough to the gold level. Let's find a way to upgrade the arrogance first. Now that he had made a decision, Russell began to count the materials that the Qi Ling Society had given him before. Silver level, Lone Star, gold. Silver level, Demon Hunter, purple. Silver level, Blood of Resurrection, gold. Silver level, Powerful Demon, gold. That's quite a lot. Russell has been carrying these materials since he got them. He is now going to use the silver level, Blood of Resurrection, gold, and silver level, Powerful Demon, gold, to upgrade Arrogant. Then there's still one material missing. Russell immediately took out his mobile phone. Russell, Mr. Wang, do you have any materials related to copying? I have a silver level, Inferior Demon, blue, and 6 million in cash. See if you can exchange them for a purple silver level material. After a while, Russell's mobile phone vibrated. AAA material wholesale Mr. Wang. Yes, silver level, horror imitator, purple, and the ownership of the materials is in our company, but, Russell, Mr. Wang, you can put forward any conditions first, and I will see if I can meet them before making a decision. Russell naturally understood that the other party was waiting for a price, but he was not someone who could be manipulated by others, and he did not have to have this material. At most, he would ask his senior sister or teacher for a copy of the material, and then return it to them after obtaining new materials. AAA material wholesale Mr. Wang, face-to-face interview. Looking at the words on the phone, Russell could not help but frown. But in the end, he decided to meet Mr. Wang. Summoning Pidgeot, Russell immediately flew to Mr. Wang's company. Xiao Luo is here, sit down. In the office, Mr. Wang looked at Russell, who hurried over and said enthusiastically. Seeing this, Russell sighed in his heart. If you offer kindness for no reason, you are either a traitor or a thief. Sighing, he said, Mr. Wang, what conditions do you have? Just tell me directly. Seeing Russell so straightforward, Mr. Wang was not angry. He just poured himself a cup of tea and looked embarrassed. Xiao Luo, your problem is a bit difficult to handle. Although I am the big boss, I still have to take care of the emotions of the people below. Hearing this, Russell couldn't help but sneer in his heart, but he still said obediently, yes, I can understand that it is not easy for President Wang. President Wang showed a satisfied smile. Xiao Luo, I'm glad you can understand. But, hearing that things seemed to be turning around, Russell immediately showed an urgent look. President Wang, just tell me what conditions you have. This was of course Russell pretending. He also wanted to see what kind of medicine President Wang was selling in the gourd. Seeing Russell's look, President Wang immediately spoke, but he didn't talk about the material. Xiao Luo, you should know that you have to do internships in your junior year, right? In schools like your Nanjing University, students in the card-making department are free to choose their internships after the junior year. Russell didn't know this. He thought that internships were assigned by the school, but he didn't know why President Wang mentioned this now. The next moment, Mr. Wang revealed his true intentions. I hope that you, Xiao Luo, can choose a position related to the imperial court when you do your internship in your junior year. Your talent has been seen by all the seniors in the imperial court. Hearing this, Russell's heart was in turmoil. My goodness, this Mr. Wang is from the imperial court. Does senior sister know about this? Although shocked, Russell still hesitated and said, isn't this inappropriate? After all, the teacher should want me to join the association. Mr. Wang naturally knew who Russell's teacher was. But seeing Russell's appearance, Mr. Wang couldn't help but feel happy. There's a chance. As long as there is no clear refusal, it means there is still a chance to win him over. Mr. Wang said disapprovingly, Hey, Xiao Luo, you are wrong. How can Master Bai care about such things? Besides, even if he cares, he will respect your own choice. If Russell didn't know about the twists and turns between the association, the imperial court, and the Qi Ling Society, he might have believed Mr. Wang's lies. But unfortunately, he knew. Therefore, Russell pretended to be hesitant, and after thinking again and again, he said, this is not a good idea. Sorry, Mr. Wang, I still can't make a decision on such an important matter now. Forget about this material. Mr. Wang did not show any surprise at Russell's words, but just said, it's okay, Xiao Luo, you can think about it slowly. As for this material, just consider it as a gift from me to you. Russell was calm in his heart, took out his bank card and, inferior demon, blue, and said, how about this, Mr. Wang, I will buy this material. Who knows if there will be any problems with the material handed over by the other party. Russell is still prepared to trade honestly. Mr. Wang's expression did not change, and he took the bank card and material handed over by Russell. Xiao Luo, you are too polite, I would just accept it directly. As he said, he deducted 5 million from the card machine. Are you satisfied now? After receiving the materials handed over by Mr. Wang, Luo Su nodded and thanked him. Thank you, Mr. Wang. I will consider your proposal carefully when I go back. I actually hope to work with all the adults in the court. Seeing that his goal has been achieved, Luo Su naturally did not mind painting a big pie for Mr. Wang. Mr. Wang showed a smile on his fat face. Then I will wait for your good news, Xiao Luo. Mr. Wang was not disappointed that he could not get Luo Su to agree directly today. After all, the other party was Bai Yuming's disciple, and he would feel that something was fishy if he agreed directly. However, since Luo Su was willing to accept his good intentions now, Mr. Wang was confident that he could make the other party completely turn to the court in the next period of time. Unlike several of Luo Su's senior brothers and sisters, they were as smelly and hard as stones in the toilet. After all, compared with the association, the positions in the court were all lucrative jobs, and they were located inland, so there was no need to risk their lives too much. Russell and Mr. Wang both felt that they had made a profit from today's conversation. Russell had obtained some much-needed materials, and Mr. Wang felt that he had successfully narrowed the distance between him and Russell. Everyone has a bright future. Back home, Russell looked at the silver level, Blood of Resurrection, gold, silver level, Power Magic, gold, and silver level, Horror Imitator, purple, in his hands, and couldn't help but smile. Next, it's time to strengthen arrogance. I wonder what I can do with a blessing after arrogance is promoted to the silver level. As for what Mr. Wang said, Russell forgot about it after leaving the other party's company. 2-in-1. Chapter 115, Arrogance. Please start compiling your story. After acquiring the symbiote Arrogance, the second dimension began his own chivalrous career out of his second-year thinking. As the only superhuman on a planet without other supernatural beings, the second dimension only made a slight move, which was already the limit. However, as the noise became more and more serious, the second dimension also attracted the attention of the authorities. As a otaku who had never received special training, the second dimension naturally did not cover his whereabouts every time. So his identity was soon found out by the authorities. One day, just as the second dimension was on his way home after beating the criminals, the authorities carried out a capture operation against the second dimension. Fortunately, the symbiote is powerful in all aspects. Under the protection of Arrogance, the second dimension quickly broke through the encirclement. Fortunately, as an orphan otaku, the second dimension did not have any relatives worthy of being arrested and threatened by the authorities. But because of the actions of the authorities, the second dimension also lived a displaced life. Since surveillance can be seen everywhere in the city, The second dimension chose to enter the deep mountains and old forests. And arrogance was like a dragon entering the sea, constantly recovering its strength in the deep mountains and old forests. It was also at this time that the second dimension discovered that when arrogance possessed other animals, it could obtain the genes of other animals. For example, the ultrasonic waves of bats and the great strength of ants. Finally, after a few months, the symbiote arrogance initially recovered its strength. At this time, the second dimension was able to resist intercontinental missiles without any damage when possessed by arrogance. It's time to go back for revenge. The second dimension said so. As a symbiote, arrogance itself has no concept of good and evil, and all actions will be affected by the host. When the second dimension appeared again, the authorities were surprised to find that the second dimension, which was originally only able to escape helplessly, was no longer the same as before. After absorbing the genes of the peregrine falcon, the second dimension can already fly freely in the sky. As we all know, in addition to intelligence information, the most important thing in modern warfare is air supremacy. Faced with the interception of many fighter planes, the second dimension did not change its expression. The sky was constantly flashing with huge fireworks, which were the explosions of fighter planes. The authorities finally realized that the situation was beyond their control. But because the second dimension had been active on the edge of the city, they could not launch the greatest weapon of mankind, the nuclear bomb, at it. However, in addition to nuclear bombs, humans also have many weapons with extremely high lethality. In the arrogant and crazy warning, the second dimension was hit head-on by the fuel air bomb. The terrifying roar in the sky-high flames made the people in the city uneasy. After the second dimension came back, people seemed to have forgotten the creature that was once called a superhero. The only thing left was the black and red devil. And the authorities watched the smoke silently through the drone. They were still praying that the second dimension could survive this attack, but of course it was in a half-dead state that was convenient for them to capture. After all, the strength shown by the second dimension at the moment, in addition to making them feel fear, there was also deep greed. However, when the smoke gradually dissipated, a scene that shocked everyone appeared. In the center of the explosion of the fuel air bomb, a figure whose flesh and blood were mostly burned, enough to reveal the bones and internal organs, was looking straight at the drone. What frightened them the most was that the injuries on the figure were recovering rapidly. The next moment, they lost their observation of the second dimension. Luckily, you are here, arrogant. In the center of the battlefield, the second dimension sighed softly in his heart. No, it's not me, it's us. A black and red head extended from the left side of the second dimension, grinning with a ferocious big mouth. The second dimension was silent for a while, and then said, "Yes, we are, arrogant." After speaking, the second dimension, whose body had been repaired, kept changing its body and entered the city. He planned to continue to develop in the city for a while with the camouflage ability of arrogance. At present, he does not have the ability to be an enemy of the world. After Russell finished compiling, he couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Fortunately, I read a lot of novels about the only way before I traveled through time, so I just need to sew it up a little bit. The next moment, he had returned to reality. Looking at the brand new arrogance in front of him, Russell couldn't help but laugh out loud. Great, this way the safety is greatly improved. After all, he strengthened arrogance a lot this time. Putting away arrogance, Russell began to check the updated information. Symbiote, arrogance, rank, silver quality, red category, biological skills, change shape, super speed regeneration, can super speed the host's injuries. Note, it consumes mental energy. Gene replication, natural evolution can only be described with a simple and rough word, failure. Now, we will define success ourselves. Arrogance can obtain the other party's unique gene module by possessing a creature. Currently acquired gene module, none. Currently inserted gene module, 0/1. Note, the current upper limit of the unit that can be possessed, silver level. Note, each creature can only obtain a gene module once. Features, Battlemaster, indestructible. The initially recovered arrogance is enough to allow the host to face the killer weapons and missiles in the process of human weapons. Even the fuel air bomb cannot completely eliminate the current arrogance. Intermediate body enhancement, it can subtly enhance the host's physical strength. Even if arrogance enters the cooldown, the enhancement will not disappear. The current upper limit is bronze. Introduction, join the glorious evolution. Bond, none, fuck, supermodel. After reading the information, even Russell couldn't help but swear. If the advancement of other abilities is still within Russell's expectations, then gene replication is completely beyond his expectations. Even if this ability is subject to many constraints, it is also indisputably powerful. Although the symbiote venom in the original work also copied Spider-Man's superpowers, Russell was originally only planning to let Arrogance obtain some genes from animal friends to enrich his abilities. Who would have thought that the mysterious space would directly generate such a powerful skill for him? Although this skill is still blank, as long as Russell is given time to develop, one day he will be able to match the power of gods with his mortal body. It's a pity that only one gene module can be used at the same time. Russell felt a little sorry about this, but he was not surprised. After all, if he could use multiple genes, he could just go to his animal friends and start copying. Quantitative change leads to qualitative change. As long as he copies enough, one day his ability will be greatly improved. It's a pity that the mysterious space blocked his way. But think about it, if Russell's idea is really followed, Arrogance will directly become a Hall-level card. However, in Russell's guess, he will continue to advance Arrogance later, which should increase the upper limit of inserting gene modules. As for the issue of gene collapse, Russell is not worried about this issue at all. On the one hand, since the mysterious space can produce it, it means that Arrogance is fine. On the other hand, it is Arrogance who uses the gene module. What does it have to do with me, Russell? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelis. There you'll find the original version of this story, and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 116, Relic Brush. As Arrogance entered his body again, Russell couldn't help but let out a long sigh. The familiar feeling is back. Feeling the slow strengthening of his body strength, he couldn't help but smile. When this body strengthening is completed, I don't need to rely on melee combat. Most card makers below the bronze level may not be able to beat me. Arrogance's body strengthening ability is indeed very important to Russell. In addition to helping him improve his survival rate, it can also help him significantly improve his winning rate in Pokemon battles. Thinking of this, Russell couldn't help but think of Arrogance's latest skill, and a strange idea arose in his heart. Arrogance can obtain gene modules when possessed, so what gene modules are obtained from me? He immediately checked Arrogance's information. Currently obtained gene modules, Iron Kidney. Currently inserted gene modules. 0/1. Iron Kidney. This module can help organisms effectively improve kidney function. Whenever I type a question mark, it's not that I have a problem, but that I think you have a problem. Currently inserted gene modules, Iron Kidney, 1/1. But then again, he didn't have any other modules to use right now, so it wouldn't be a problem to use them first, right? Feeling the strong confidence in Pokemon battles rising in his heart, Russell gradually showed a crazy smile on his face. In the future Pokemon battles, I will definitely defeat them. But before that, Russell had a more important thing to do. Russell, senior sister, I want to take a day off tomorrow. Huteo, what happened? Russell, I have a card that needs to be dealt with. I will definitely be back before the practical training class. Huteo, okay. Smiley face. Seeing that Huteo approved his leave after just a simple inquiry, Russell couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief. He had made up a lot of excuses, but now it seemed that they were all useless. Opening the map, Russell prepared to choose a place with rich ecology to brush some gene modules. After all, he couldn't really enter the practical training secret realm with a Iron Kidney module. This is the only way. After a long time, Russell finally chose a place. It was Daby Mountain, not far from Nandu. It wasn't that Russell didn't want to go to other more famous mountains with richer ecological resources. The main reason was that except for Daby Mountain, the others were too far away, and he was afraid that he would not be able to make it in time. After all, he would have a practical training class the day after tomorrow. Before we set off, let's have an exciting Pokemon battle. In the early morning, in the dark night sky, a huge black and red strange bird was carrying a figure and rushing past. After the promotion of Arrogance to silver level, even the possessed Pidgeot became faster. Russell felt the speed of Pidgeot at this time and couldn't help but sigh. But it was only a little faster, which was still a drop in the bucket for Russell's needs. We're here. Just as Russell was thinking about making a vehicle card or a rideable creature, a mountain range that could not be seen at a glance appeared in front of him. It's a good time to test the strength of arrogance after the promotion. As the low voice dissipated in the night wind, a black and red figure fell to the ground like a meteor. Yuanhua regretted it now. He shouldn't have listened to his best friend's advice and followed them into Daby Mountain for hiking. Hiking was fine, but his best friend insisted on dragging him through wild routes. If he wasn't really worried about the other person doing such a dangerous thing alone, Yuanhua would never do such a suicidal thing. As a result, it has been several days, and the two of them haven't walked out yet. Not to mention walking out, the two of them don't even know where they are now. Of course, in addition to getting lost, there are many wild animals in Daby Mountain. They have seen tigers in the past few days, but fortunately, they don't know if the other party has eaten enough monkeys and didn't attack them. Of course, this is not the worst. The worst is that they may encounter wandering monsters. Although wandering monsters are generally not strong, they are not something that ordinary people like the two of them with only cards like Paw Patrol can deal with. And even if the probability of such an event is very small, Yuanhua has seen related posts on the internet before. At that time, he laughed at others for being stupid, but now, he has become stupid. Can we get out? Yuanhua asked his good friend Shiwu with a bitter face in the tent. There is no signal in this place, and we can't ask for help. Shiwu heard this and patted his chest. Leave it to me, I will take you out. Looking at the other's already tattered jacket, Yuanhua's eyes twitched. It's because I trust you that we are in this state now. I feel like this is our grave. Shiwu couldn't help but sneer. Don't worry, I told my family that if we don't get home tomorrow, they will come to find us. Hearing that Shiwu finally had some arrangements, Yuanhua finally felt a little comforted, although he was very pessimistic about when they would be found. Maybe their bodies would be smelly by then. Just when he was about to speak. Boom. Fuck. What's going on? The sudden loud noise scared the two of them. The two looked at each other in surprise, then immediately packed up their equipment and ran away. Although they didn't know what made the noise, it was definitely okay to run first. Huff. Huff. I said it couldn't be a demon, right? Yuanhua asked Shiwu while panting while running. Shiwu's wise eyes revealed a sense of confusion. I can't get there. Boom. The sound of trees collapsing one after another sounded behind the two. Yuanhua heard the sound, turned back to check the situation, and couldn't help but feel a ghost. It's over, it seems to be coming towards us. Seeing this, Shiwu gritted his teeth and said, I'll hold it, you run first. He stayed where he was and turned around to face the unknown danger. Just when Shiwu was immersed in his self-touching, he felt Yuanhua patting his back constantly. I said I'll stay, don't persuade me, Shiwu said while looking at Yuanhua beside him. In his sight, Yuanhua's face was pale at this time. Shiwu couldn't help but ask in surprise, why is your face so pale? Yuanhua smiled at Shiwu and didn't answer his doubts. I feel that today is the day we both die. While speaking, he pointed behind Shiwu. Shiwu turned and looked in the direction of Yuanhua's finger. He finally understood why Yuanhua didn't run away. At this time, blocking the two of them was a huge black and red humanoid monster. The oppressive feeling from the life level made the two stand still and unable to move. Why are you running? The terrifying dual-channel voice sounded in the forest at night. Chapter 117 Demon Gene. The so-called monster is naturally Russell. Just now during the free fall, his mental power scanned two humanoid creatures, and he was ready to explore. What he didn't expect was that after he fell to the ground, the two humanoid creatures were slowly moving away from him. Fortunately, the speed was not fast. In the arrogant form, Russell easily surpassed the two. At this time, looking at the two people who dared not breathe, Russell chuckled, and arrogance instantly entered his body. Seeing that the huge black and red monster in front of them turned into a handsome boy in the blink of an eye, Yuanhua and Shiwu couldn't help but fall into stagnation. I am a registered card maker of the association, don't be afraid. Russell could of course guess what the two were afraid of just now, and quickly stated his identity. As he said, Russell took out a card representing the identity of the card maker from his body. Yuanhua looked at Russell and couldn't help swallowing his saliva, and tremblingly took the card handed over by the other party. To be honest, he is still a little scared now. After all, who would run to such a place in the middle of the night? There are no demons and no secret realms here. If Russell is really a card maker, then he is more likely to be an illegal card maker. He now feels that the boy opposite is not good, and it is possible that he is an old monster disguised as a card and is just making fun of them. But now his and Shiwu's lives are completely in the hands of the boy opposite, so naturally, whatever the other party says is what it is. Looking down at the card in his hand, Yuan Hua's eyes widened instantly, and he uttered an unbelievable voice, "Silver level." Shiwu was startled by Yuan Hua's voice, and looked at him in confusion. What silver level? He always felt that Yuan Hua was acting strangely. The young man opposite can be seen as a good person at a glance. I don't know what Yuan Hua is afraid of. Yuan Hua ignored Shiwu and quickly handed the card back to Russell. Oh, Lord Luo, we didn't recognize the real talent. Russell put away the card and asked with a little curiosity, so what are you doing here so late? He looked at the equipment of the two people opposite him and said strangely, you don't come to this place to climb mountains, do you? Yuan Hua scratched his head awkwardly. Shiwu nodded and said, yes, we are here to challenge ourselves. Seeing this, Russell hesitated to speak. Apart from anything else, these two people are absolutely courageous. After all, normal people would never do such a thing. When Yuan Hua was about to explain, Russell raised his hand to stop him. Something is wrong, don't talk for now. Russell frowned and scanned the surrounding woods. From the beginning, he felt that the atmosphere around him was a little wrong. It was too dark. Although it was night, the moon was very bright today. Logically speaking, there should not be no light at all. Yuan Hua and Shiwu looked at Russell anxiously, not knowing why the young card maker opposite them suddenly looked like this. I found you. In the horrified eyes of Yuan Hua and Shiwu, Russell changed into arrogant form again and rushed to their side. A terrifying roar sounded in the woods. The place where Russell was standing was crushed by a huge force. The two couldn't help swallowing their saliva. Just at that moment, they thought they were going to die. Looking at the several cards emitting powerful auras standing in front of them and keeping alert, the two looked at each other in surprise. So, what did that Lord Luo find? Shiwu quietly pulled Yuan Hua's sleeve and asked in a low voice. But in the silent dense forest, Shiwu's voice was so obvious no matter how low it was. Not to mention that Russell's cards were all of high level. Shiwu thought that his question was very concealed, but it seemed like talking loudly in their eyes. Seeing several cards glance at him, Yuan Hua shuddered. Don't ask if you shouldn't ask. Looking at the trees that kept falling, he had some guesses about this. Maybe they encountered a demon. Yuan Hua couldn't help but feel a little relieved. You know, their current location is not far from where they camped before. This means that if it weren't for Russell, they would most likely die at the hands of this demon. In the distance, between the messy woods that looked like they had been ravaged by artillery shells, the arrogant Russell was holding the head of a half-dead creature in his hand. It's actually a wandering demon. Russell naturally recognized the identity of the creature in his hand. It's just so weak, only bronze level. That's right, the one who just secretly spied on them was a bronze-level demon. But Russell could understand it. After all, Daby Mountain was in the heart of the Ming Dynasty. If there were a powerful wandering demon, it would have been annihilated long ago. The demon he had on hand was probably just too weak, and had some concealment ability, so it didn't make people notice it. Slurp. Just as Russell was thinking secretly, the scarlet giant tongue licked the dark face of the demon. Fuck, Kuangwang, don't lick it. Subconsciously, but this thing, I seem to be able to absorb the gene module. Kuangwang's hoarse voice sounded beside Russell's ear. Then let's try it. Although Russell knew that Kuangwang could absorb the gene module, he was not sure whether he could absorb the gene module of the demon. He did not expect to absorb the gene module of a demon when he came to Daby Mountain this time. But now that he has encountered it, it is a good opportunity to test Kuangwang's new ability. He let his card guard in front of the two people for this reason. It is both protection and surveillance. The fewer people who know about this powerful ability, the better. The black and red liquid flowed along Russell's right arm that was holding the demon's head and rushed to the other party. In an instant, Kuangwang completed the coverage. In just 1 or 2 seconds, the black and red liquid returned to Russell's body again. Russell knew that Kuangwang had completed the extraction. He immediately checked Kuangwang's information. Currently, the gene modules obtained are Iron Kidney, Shadow Bloodline. Shadow Bloodline can increase the ability to hide. So weak. Russell frowned. But thinking that he only had a bronze-level demon, he was relieved. And who knows if there are other powerful modules, but it's just that arrogance didn't extract them due to bad luck. After crushing the demon's head, Russell thought of another thing. Speaking of which, arrogant, can you extract gene modules from card creatures? No, I tried it when I possessed Pidgeot just now. Is that so? Russell was not very disappointed. After all, the ability of gene replication is already very powerful, and it would be a bit too greedy to ask for more. After extracting a bronze level, inferior Shadow Fiend, blue, material, Russell turned around to look for the two. Since he met them, he naturally had to send the two people out. Besides, it wouldn't take long to send them out with Pidgeot. Chapter 118 Russell and his animal friends. After sending the two to a small county town at the foot of Davy Mountain. After thinking for a moment, Russell decided to send the Buddha to the west. He took the two to the only association base in the small county town. After all, if he didn't show up, Yuan Hua and the others would have to spend some time explaining their origins. It wouldn't take much time, so Russell simply accompanied the two. In the base, perhaps because it was the middle of the night, the middle-aged ant on duty was drowsy. But after hearing the knocking on the counter, the middle-aged ant shuddered instantly. Looking at the counter, a boy who looked young was looking around the structure of the front desk hall. Little classmate, what do you want so late? Russell took out his ID and handed it to the middle-aged ant, while explaining the situation of the two people behind her. After listening to Russell's description, the middle-aged ant took the ID card and scanned it on the instrument without even looking at it. She stared at Yuan Hua and the other two, whose clothes were tattered, and said unhappily, "You are really brave. If we hadn't met this little classmate, I'm afraid you would be in danger." The two of them couldn't help but shrink their heads and act like quails when they heard the middle-aged ant scolding. Seeing that the two didn't reply, the middle-aged ant looked at the computer screen and said, "Little classmate, although you just helped ordinary people on the way this time, the association will still reward you. You should still be studying, right? The association will give you points, and the points can be exchanged for materials in the association." Russell was stunned. He really didn't know about this. No one had ever told him about it. Just when he was about to ask, the middle-aged ant opened her mouth wide, as if she had seen something incredible. After a while, the stammering voice of a middle-aged woman was heard in the front hall. "Zaya Oxeo, you are a silver-level card maker? And wait a minute, I have to inform the leader." Russell couldn't help but say, "That's not necessary." The middle-aged woman said quickly, "It's necessary, it's too necessary." As she said that, she picked up her phone and sent a message to the leader. God knows what she just saw. The boy in front of her is already a silver level at such a young age. He is actually the disciple of a master-level card maker. Although the middle-aged woman couldn't understand how strong a master-level card maker is, she had to know that the president of the association in their small county was only a silver level. That was already a big shot that she didn't dare to think about normally. After a while, a bald middle-aged man hurriedly walked in from the gate of the association. Seeing Luo Su, who is obviously different from the others, the bald middle-aged man's eyes lit up. "You are Mr. Luo, right? Hello, my last name is Bao, you can just call me Uncle Bao." Seeing the middle-aged man so enthusiastic, Luo Su couldn't help but be curious about what message the middle-aged ant had just sent to the other party. Luo Su didn't know that his identity card was in the office of the association and could read the information that he was Bai Yuming's disciple. Otherwise, Luo Su wouldn't have such doubts. "I wonder what President Bao wants to talk to me about." Luo Su didn't bother to say hello and asked directly. President Bao froze in place. He just rushed over after seeing the message. But now that he calmed down and thought about it carefully, it seemed that there was really nothing wrong. But as the local leader, President Bao was able to react. "Our small county town doesn't have many people coming in and out normally. Now that this has happened, I have to come and take a look." Luo Su's eyebrows showed helplessness. "Then President Bao should be able to confirm that there is no problem now, right? If there is no problem, I will leave first." President Bao wiped the sweat from his forehead and smiled humbly. "No problem, how can you have a problem, classmate Luo? In that case, I will take my leave first." After watching the black and red giant bird soaring into the sky outside the door, President Bao turned his head and looked at the middle-aged ant. "You did a good job this time, and I will give you a bonus at the end of the month." The middle-aged ant heard that there was a bonus, and she had happily forgotten what had just happened. Then President Bao looked at Yuan Hua and the others. "You are also lucky. I will arrange for you to return to your registered residence. Yuan Hua and the others didn't dare to speak at this time. They just felt that they seemed to have met an incredible big shot. The slightly white sky indicated the departure of the night. Russell came to Daby Mountain again. It's time to start working. He had no requirements for the gene modules to be extracted this time. He was ready to extract any animal he met. Looking at the ants on the ground, Russell smiled. Let's start with you. Many people know that ants can lift materials that are dozens of times heavier than themselves. However, they all fell into a misunderstanding, thinking that the fact that ants can lift materials that are dozens of times heavier means that they are very strong. It is more appropriate to say lifting instead of a carrying. This is because the efficiency of their leg muscles is far superior to that of other creatures, not that their strength can lift such heavy objects. Due to the large number of ants, Aragon extracted a lot of gene modules at once. However, most of them are useless gene modules. Russell only saw one useful one. Leg muscle cluster, greatly improve the muscle utilization rate of the legs. Replace iron kidney with the latest gene module. When Russell transformed into Aragon form, he suddenly kicked a boulder beside him. However, the boulder did not fly out as he expected. Instead, his right foot was deeply embedded in the boulder. Silence is Cambridge tonight. After a long while, the voice of Kwang Wang sounded beside Russell's ear. Let me do it. Russell handed over the control to Kwang Wang without changing his expression. The same action, but the result is completely different. With a sharp explosion, the boulder knocked a wide road in the dense trees. Sure enough, hand-to-hand combat is still a bit difficult for me. Russell looked at the scene in front of him and thought silently. Fortunately, Kwang Wang also has the characteristic of Battle Master, so he doesn't need to worry about close combat. Next, let's find birds. Looking up at the sky, Russell bent his legs slightly. The next moment, he rushed into the sky like a cannonball. Friends who have seen the movie Superman Man of Steel know that Superman did not fly at the beginning, but jumped. Russell felt that if Kwang Wang was promoted 1 or 2 more times, he could also play a cameo as Superman. Although the speed was very fast, there was one awkward point: it couldn't turn. After falling straight to the ground, Russell still summoned Pidgeot obediently. Next, it's hunting time. Chapter 119 Harvest and Training. One day passed in a flash. Looking at the dark sky again, Russell's black and red giant hand touched the tiger beside him that was shaking like a sieve. Don't be so blind in the future. Not everyone is as kind as me. Meow. The tiger trembled and made a cat cry. It didn't understand what the monster in front of it was saying. It had eaten well and was ready to rest, but this monster suddenly jumped out and pressed it to the ground. Then came the unbearable memory. The black and red liquids were about to fill it up. Russell didn't know what the cat next to him was thinking. He patted the other's back and signaled it to leave. The tiger tentatively stepped out with his right paw, while looking back to observe Russell's performance. Seeing that Russell didn't move, the tiger used all 4 limbs and crawled away from his sight. It's almost time to go back. Although it was just getting dark, Russell couldn't really delay until dawn to go back. After all, tomorrow's secret training still needs to be treated well, and he has to go back now to have a good rest. And the modules have been collected almost completely. Since they were all inferior animal modules, their strength was definitely not as high as the modules produced by demons. Russell replaced the leg muscle cluster module with the pointed wings. Pointed wings can greatly increase the flight speed. At this time, in the Aragon form, he was able to extend a pair of flesh wings. Taking a deep breath, Russell jogged a few steps to help himself, then bent his legs and used all his strength to jump into the air. However, without the leg muscle cluster module, the speed and height were not as good as before. Fortunately, it only provided power for takeoff. As the flesh wings flapped, Russell flew away from Daby Mountain at a rapid speed. This is much faster than the eagle. The cold night wind whistled in Russell's ears. However, he did not feel any discomfort in the Aragon form. It's a pity that I still can't break the speed of sound. If I encounter a bird demon later, it may be possible to extract a corresponding module. Russell was very satisfied that the modules produced by ordinary animals could allow him to reach such a speed. If he could get other flight modules later, he thought he could fly even faster. Not long after, Russell saw the outline of Nandu. Before entering Nandu, Russell deliberately slowed down his speed for fear of being intercepted. But who would have thought that as soon as he entered Nandu, Several card makers riding different flying vehicles appeared in front of him. Card makers in front, please slow down and follow the instructions to go to the ground for inspection. Several card makers shouted to Russell from a distance. Russell made an emergency stop and then came to the ground honestly. A middle-aged card maker came to Russell and looked at Kuang Wang with some surprise. "Where is your card maker?" The team members behind the middle-aged card maker were facing a great enemy at this time. The creature in front of them did not look like a good thing. If the middle-aged card maker who was in charge had not given an order, they would have been unable to resist attacking. The middle-aged card maker was thinking at this time who made a new card and was testing it casually here. But the next moment, the face of the black and red hideous giant in front of him was instantly lifted. The middle-aged card maker was startled, but when he looked closely, he found that the face was not naked flesh and blood as he imagined, but a delicate face. The middle-aged card maker was puzzled at this time. What kind of card is this? Armor? Biocolonization suit? Russell lowered his head and looked at the middle-aged card maker, who looked very small in his arrogant form. "I am the card maker. I wonder what you can do for me, comrade." The middle-aged card maker showed his ID card and said, "You were speeding near Nandu just now, and we were ordered to check you. Please show me your ID." "I deliberately slowed down. How could I be checked?" Russell sighed in his heart, but he still put his arrogance back in his body and took out his ID card from his pocket. The middle-aged man took Russell's ID card and carefully compared the photo on the ID card with Russell's appearance. After a while, he returned the ID card to Russell. "No problem, but I have to remind you that you can't fly so fast in Nandu City. Any speed over 200 kilometers per hour is considered speeding." Russell nodded. "I understand. Then can I go?" The middle-aged card maker smiled at him. "Thank you for your cooperation, you can go now." Then he waved back. "Let you go." Russell thanked him and changed into an arrogant form again and soared from the ground. After watching the black and red figure leave quickly, the middle-aged card maker turned around and said to the team members behind him, "Let's pack up, students from Nanjing University." The team members breathed a sigh of relief at this time and couldn't help saying, as expected of top students from Nanjing University, "The cards are so different." "Don't mention it, I think it's really handsome." "Your aesthetic is wrong, it's just like that. I didn't know it in the middle of the night and thought it was a demon invasion." The middle-aged card maker shook his head. "Don't talk about you, I have never seen such a card in all my years." The middle-aged card maker really had never seen such a card. At first, he thought it was a separate biological card, because his mental power did not scan Russell in the body of Arrogant at all when scanning. But when Russell appeared in front of him, he thought Arrogant was armor or biological colonization suit. But the problem is that he can clearly feel the breath of Arrogant's life. It can only be said that it is very strange. Russell returned home and began to sort out the gene modules he harvested this time. It's time to open the exciting blind box. Russell had a habit when he was playing games in his previous life. No matter what game it was, when he was brushing things with entries, he liked to fill his backpack first, and then check the properties one by one. After sorting for a long time, most of them were useless or even funny modules. Fortunately, there were a few modules that could be used. For example, Russell had already used leg muscle cluster and pointed wings. In addition, there were streamlined muscles and acute sense of smell. Streamlined muscles slightly improve muscle burst ability. Acute sense of smell, your sense of smell is slightly strengthened. These two were obtained from a tiger and a bear respectively. The number of gene modules that can be used now is small, and Russell can still switch the modules manually, but if the number of gene modules that can be used in the future is hidden, it will be a bit troublesome for him to switch during battle. Fortunately, Arrogant can also switch modules. With the characteristics of Battle Master, Russell is confident that Arrogant can make the best choice. Then it's all about tomorrow's practical training. You have to act alone today, Russell. In the classroom, Hikisha looked at the message on his phone and said to Russell without raising his head. Russell supported his chin with one hand and yawned, "Because I'm a silver level, there's nothing I can do about it." Hikifan glanced at Russell and asked casually, "Why do you look listless?" Russell said nonchalantly, "I played too late yesterday and didn't get enough rest." Just as the fat and thin duo wanted to ask, Hu Tao came in front of them and knocked on the table. Seeing Hu Tao looking straight at him, Russell immediately understood that his senior sister was looking for him. Following Hu Tao to the outside of the classroom, Russell asked, Is it about the practical training? Hu Tao nodded and whispered, I'll take you there now. There are special arrangements for students above the silver level. Russell followed Hu Tao after hearing that. After a while, Russell came to a large lecture hall where some students were sitting scattered around. A teacher will come over soon, you sit here for a while. Hu Tao's gentle voice came from beside Russell, I'll go back first. After Hu Tao left, Russell found an empty seat and sat down. Some students in the classroom knew his identity, and after seeing him, they couldn't help but whisper with their companions. Is that the new main member of the battle club? Yes, it is said that Guanji is vulnerable in front of him. Really? So outrageous. Why would I lie to you? There were so many people watching at the time. Then it's a good thing I didn't get carried away and challenged him. Russell listened to the discussion in the classroom without changing his expression. Guanji, one of the parties involved, was sitting in the front of the classroom with a face as black as charcoal. However, in the end, the provocation that Russell imagined did not happen. Not long after sitting in the classroom, a middle-aged male teacher walked in. Okay, students, be quiet. The middle-aged male teacher stood at the front of the lecture hall and said loudly, It's not the first time for everyone to attend a practical training class, so I won't say any more nonsense. Those who want to form a team should report to me first. I will treat those who don't report as solo. Seeing that most of the students in the classroom went to the middle-aged male teacher to report, Russell sat in his seat without moving. First, he didn't know anyone in this classroom except Guanji. Second, he was confident in his own ability. After a long time, the middle-aged male teacher finished the registration. He looked around the students with different expressions in the classroom seriously. Although it's just the final finishing work, students should not take it lightly. No one will be responsible for you if something happens in the secret realm. After all, you signed the relevant agreement when you applied for the card-making department. The middle-aged male teacher said these words for his own reasons. Don't think it's just a cleaning job and don't take it seriously. Although most of the high-end masters in the secret realm have been wiped out by registered card makers, there is no guarantee that there will be no fish that slip through the net. For example, last year, a gold-level demon was seriously injured and hid underground to recuperate without being discovered. As a result, the students suffered heavy casualties when they went in to clean up. However, the probability of such a thing happening is very small, especially after last year. Registered card makers have strengthened their patrols in the secret realm to ensure that there are no overly dangerous monsters alive before allowing students to enter. Of course, overly dangerous monsters refer to those above the gold level, and they will not deliberately eliminate the silver level. After all, if even a silver level card maker can't handle a silver level monster, it's better to go back and drink milk as soon as possible. Seeing that the students in the classroom were silent, the middle-aged male teacher paused before continuing, Finally, pay attention to safety. Then he waved his hand, and the students in the classroom stood up and followed him. Since Russell had just entered Nanjing University this semester, he was also confused about the process of the practical training class. Seeing that the students had left the classroom, Russell naturally would not sit there stupidly anymore. He followed the crowd and walked towards the school gate in a mighty manner. The school gate was already full of buses. Russell followed other students and got on a bus with the word silver level on it, and drove towards an unknown destination. The drifting heavy rain made the hazy world look like a water realm. There were many houses on the mountain covered by clouds, but most of them had collapsed. Even several hilltops nearby had disappeared. Inside the house, a young man was respectfully saying to the old man lying on the bed, "Ancestor, the offensive of that group of card makers seems to have weakened a lot recently. Is it because of the heavy casualties?" The old man coughed weakly, and then said, "We are just a secret realm, but the group of people outside are not. How can we win with the exchange tactic? At present, the several major forces in the secret realm have been crippled, and the rest are old, weak and sick like me. I think it's probably because the rest of us are not worth their effort." A trace of bitterness flashed in the young man's eyes. "Ancestor, what should we do next?" The old man struggled to get up, and the young man hurriedly supported him. "The underground secret room we prepared before we descended should not have been discovered yet. Notify the rest of the people in the tribe to move all the important items in and hide for a while first." The young man was silent for a long time after hearing this, and then he said hatefully, "It's hateful. If we hadn't been caught, how could our tribe be so humiliated?" The old man glanced at the young man with his cloudy eyes. "Be careful with your words. Don't think that he can control you after he descends. You are fine now because he doesn't care. After all, we are all just his pawns." The young man shuddered, and cold sweat instantly covered his body. I spoke out of turn. "Ancestor, I will arrange it now." After driving for half a day, Russell finally arrived at the destination. What appeared in front of Russell at this time was a heavily guarded base in front of him, which was completely different from the security level of the welfare secret realm he had entered before. He felt many silver-level card makers at the checkpoints along the way. When he came to the depths of the base, there were even several beings whose levels he could not detect. Feeling the slight tingling of his mental power, Russell knew that this was an unknown existence warning him not to investigate casually. Russell retracted his attention and looked at a man standing in front of a group of students. The mission and map should have been sent to your mobile phones. Russell took out his mobile phone after hearing this. Task: clear the silver-level monsters in the area. Attachment, map. Seeing that the students already knew their tasks, the man said seriously, "Now, start the mission." Chapter 120 Enter. Russell opened the attachment and began to observe the map in the secret realm. To his surprise, the map in the attachment was not an ordinary flat map, but a three-dimensional map. And it looked very detailed. I don't know what card it was made of. At present, this map must have been drawn by the card maker's card through special abilities. After all, in Russell's opinion, the accuracy is indeed a bit high. In his map, there is also a small area marked as a red area. This is where he needs to go to eliminate the silver-level monsters. Forest? Fortunately, I went to find some animal friends to get some gene modules before. Russell carefully observed the area where he was carrying out his mission. It was an area with mountains. This secret realm is very large, and there are many terrains in it. It stands to reason that it should be more fortunate to be assigned to the plain area. After all, places like swamps and forests are easier to hide, and you may be attacked by monsters if you are not careful. Tap the red area, and the specific information of this area will be displayed to Russell. Are the monsters here like the monsters in the Legend of Blue Star? And there are all kinds of animals. Not bad. Russell was very satisfied with the area he was assigned. After all, just looking at the description, you can tell that the monsters are very rich, unlike the previous welfare secret realm, which has only a single type of monsters because they have been kept in captivity. Since this secret realm has not been brought under control yet, Daming has not named it yet. Just when Russell was about to put away his phone, a message suddenly popped up on the communication software. Loving family, it was Russell's master group. Since he joined, except for Hu Tao sending a welcome message on the first day, no one else has spoken. Li Fuyu finally came out of the secret realm. Long time no see. Li Fuyu, have the eldest brother and the second sister come out? Li Fuyu, why don't you talk, little sister? You really need to change your temper and learn more from me. Li Fuyu, teacher has accepted a new disciple? Li Fuyu, welcome, little brother. Sprinkle flowers. Russell's eyes twitched as he looked at the rapidly refreshing information in the software. This senior brother named Li Fuyu gave him a completely different feeling from Hu Tao. He sent so many messages in less than a minute, and did not give people time to respond. He was a complete social terrorist. Russell, hello, senior brother 3, please take care of me in the future. Russell deduced from Li Fuyu's speech that he should be his senior brother 3, after all, there were only 6 people in the group. Li Fuyu, hey, you are too polite. We are all family members from now on. If you have any trouble, just tell me directly. Li Fuyu, I tell you, my exploration of the secret realm this time is really hard to describe. Li Fuyu, I feel that the recent secret realm is much more dangerous than the previous one. The diversity and complexity of the monster's abilities have greatly increased. Li Fuyu, I heard that several of the emerald-level card makers who entered with me were killed in it. Li Fuyu, fortunately, this secret realm is completely cleared. Based on Li Fuyu's speech, Russell deduced that the other party should not be inland, either on the coast or in the north. Because only the secret realms on these two sides require card makers above the emerald level to enter. And high-level secret realms like this need to be completely cleared, and there is no control. Because there are many secret realms that have not been controlled or even discovered next to the high-level secret realms on the coast and border. Even if you successfully captive the monsters in the secret realm, you still have to find a way to defend against the offensive of other monsters next to it. It is better to kill them all. Li Fuyu, Why don't you talk? Li Fuyu, is anyone else watching? Hu Tao, I'm here. Russell, I'm about to enter the secret realm for practical training, so let's not talk for now, third brother. Li Fuyu, okay, junior brother, be careful, but junior sister is not the youngest now. Russell put away his phone before he finished reading Li Fuyu's words. Because the other students around him had already entered the secret realm, he was the only one left at the entrance. The man who had come to him earlier also came to him and began to urge him, "Are you scared? If you are scared, it's not too late to quit now. We won't hold you responsible, but you won't be able to participate in the practical training courses in the school in the future." Russell showed an apology on his face. I replied to a message, "Sorry." After saying that, he entered the secret realm. The endless heavy rain was still falling in the secret realm. Guanji frowned and looked at the scene in front of him. "What do you mean, we wait here for the rain to stop?" his companion asked him. There were very few students who chose to go alone, and Guanji was no exception. Hearing this, Guanji shook his head. "I don't know how long we have to wait here. If we delay, something may happen. Let's go to the target area as soon as possible." His team members nodded slightly and agreed with him. "Speaking of which, where's the freshman who replaced you? Why don't I see him? Are you scared?" Another team member looked around and suddenly said. Guanji said with an unchanged expression, "If you want to become a powerful card maker, you have to take this step. I don't think someone who is afraid of even the silver level secret realm can defeat me." As he spoke, Guanji caught sight of Russell. The team member who spoke at the beginning whispered, "It seems that he is alone. It is said that this is his first practical training class, right? Will it be too dangerous?" Guanji couldn't help but fall into silence. The card maker duel and the secret realm wild battle are completely different. Even when he first had practical training, he felt a little dangerous. At that time, he still had teammates. After a long time, Guanji said, "Let's do our own things first. Geniuses like them will definitely have no problem staying alive." It is indeed no problem to stay alive, but it is hard to say whether the mission can be completed. On the other side, Russell was radiating his mental power wantonly, feeling the situation around him. "I thought there was something special about this rain, but it turns out to be just ordinary rain." As soon as he entered the secret realm, Russell noticed the torrential rain that was like a vast ocean. Out of caution, he did not rashly set out for his area. However, after some exploration, he found that the rain was just pure rain, and there was nothing strange mixed in it. After taking out his mobile phone to confirm the location, Russell immediately changed into arrogant form. A black and red giant more than 3 meters high instantly appeared among the students at the entrance. At this time, the students who had not set out cast strange eyes on Russell. Russell ignored the gazes of others, and after switching to the pointed wings module, the hideous flesh wings stretched out behind him. In the horrified eyes of the students, Russell soared into the sky, leaving a white mark in the rain, and quickly moved away from the entrance of the secret realm. Chapter 121. It disappeared. The black and red figure dragged a long tail through the air. The rain is starting to get lighter. At this time, the heavy rain that Russell had experienced when he entered the secret realm had gradually turned into continuous drizzle. "We are almost there." Russell did not pay attention to how long he had been flying. Anyway, he had seen other demons along the way. I don't know if they were shocked by his aura or because his appearance now looked too much like a demon, but the demons did not react. But in fact, he flew too fast, and he passed by in a whoosh. The demons below did not react at all, and he disappeared. In Russell's sight, the terrain gradually changed from a flat plain to a rugged mountain. This also means that he has basically reached his destination. Flapping his wings and staying in the air, Russell took out his mobile phone and began to check the map. Comparing it with a three-dimensional picture, he confirmed that he had reached his destination. "Let me see where the nearest demon gathering place is." "Huh? There's only one demon force in this area." Scratching his head, Russell thought his task would be very heavy, but he didn't expect that there was only one demon force that he needed to eliminate. But thinking that he was alone, Russell was relieved. "It should be because I am alone that I was not assigned to an area with more demons." Russell made his own guess. After determining the direction, he accelerated again and flew to the location of the demon family shown on the map. Soon, he saw the landmark building marked on the map. Several flattened hills surrounded a lonely and towering mountain. Russell glanced at the unfortunate hills and thought to himself, Lily's Liberation Oath gold sword should be able to do it. Then the card maker who took action here must be above the gold level. Huh? A lean camel is bigger than a horse, you still have to be careful. The gold level card maker who took action here means that there must have been gold level or above demon forces here before. But there must be no more now. Probably Russell approached the peak in the middle carefully. He did not choose to fly directly to the top of the mountain, but landed halfway up the mountain, let Kuangwang disguise his body slightly, and slowly climbed to the top of the mountain. The mental power extended out carefully like tentacles. Finally, Russell felt a large area of buildings. How come half of it collapsed? Russell felt a little strange about the information detected by mental power, and why are there no living creatures? With doubts, he slowly approached the building closest to him. Pushing open the door, he saw the scattered debris on the ground. No dust. Russell carefully observed the situation in the house. That means there were demons living here not long ago. After searching carefully, Russell was sure that he had not missed any important information, so he left the house. Let's go to the center to have a look. After thinking for a while, Russell still called out all his cards. Anyway, if he was going to be exposed, he should have been exposed when he entered here, so it's better to put out the cards directly and see the specific situation first. If you can beat them, fight them. If you can't beat them, run away. The most you can do is to dissipate your card and put it into cooldown. 24 hours later, you will be a brave man again. However, when Russell came to the center of the building complex, he still didn't encounter a single demon. Strange, where did all the demons go? Run away. Thinking of this, Russell switched the pointed wings module to acute sense of smell. But unfortunately, due to the previous heavy rain, even if there was any smell left before, it disappeared under the scouring of the rain, which resulted in him not smelling anything. This is difficult. Russell was a little distressed at this time. He now had two choices. One was to return to the original route and report the incident to the authorities, and the other was to find the disappeared demons and kill them. After thinking for a moment, Russell decided to look for them first. Since he had made the decision, he no longer hesitated and soared into the sky in an instant. I don't believe that there will be no traces of a large-scale evacuation. First of all, we can rule out the direction from which Russell came. After all, that is the direction of the entrance to the secret realm. What's the difference between running there and committing suicide? Only a fool would do that. Then there are 3 directions left. Russell turned into a black and red arrow and shot into the distance. Guanji looked at the village in front of him with a serious expression. Be careful, I feel something is wrong with this place. Seeing him like this, the team members beside him also felt a little nervous. Brother Guan, what did you find? Guanji looked at the quiet village in front of him and shook his head slowly. I just feel that the atmosphere here is not right. It's always good to be careful. The team members naturally would not blame Guanji for making a fuss. After all, at this time, being careful is responsible for your own life. Let's go into the village and take a look. On the other side, Russell couldn't hold it anymore. He had basically searched his area with his speed. As a result, he didn't see a single demon. So many demons, can they run so fast? Russell was a little skeptical about life at this time. Logically speaking, although the heavy rain washed away the traces, it would definitely affect the speed of the demon's transfer. You have to know that it was not just 1 or 2 demons, but dozens or even hundreds of demons. Think carefully, is there anything I missed? First of all, the debris scattered on the ground in many houses showed that this group of demons must have decided to run away at the last minute. Then they couldn't run too far. And now there are traces left everywhere, and Russell has been in the sky. He cast his eyes on the lifeless building complex at this time. Try it, Sister Lai. Anahana Lai nodded and began to chant. The heart of the south, the pupil of the north, the fingertips of the west, the toes of the east, gather with the wind, and disperse with the rain. The 58th way of binding, slapping toes to chase the sparrow. The next moment, Anahana Lai turned his head and looked at Russell. Underground, I sensed a lot of spiritual pressure reactions. It's just that it's a little far from us. Hearing this, Russell breathed a sigh of relief and thought to himself, as expected. After searching this area, he always felt that there was one thing that was strange, that is, he didn't see anything valuable in any room. And it was obviously unreasonable to move with so many things, unless they were still hiding here. This is why he asked Unohanaritsu to use the perception-type ghost method. Before searching this area, he didn't think that the demons had run away. After all, the scene was too confusing. It was just that Russell thought it was the demon's special abilities, a barrier or something else that caused him not to find it. I didn't expect that this group of demons actually hide underground. So now, what he has to do is to find the entrance to this underground hideout first. Chapter 122, Any living thing is at its most vulnerable time. Period. Let's look for it first. As for the location of the entrance, Russell was now confused and had no clue. It really doesn't work. Looking at Kuang Wang switching the Digger Master module obtained from an unknown rat in Davy Mountain, his hands turned into sharp claws. Russell originally thought it was a funny module, but he didn't expect that it might be used here. In the end, if there is no other way, we can only see if we can dig a hole to get in. After releasing all the cards, Russell asked everyone to scatter and look for the entrance. And he himself was not idle, and began to look for the group of demons to see if they had missed anything useful. But unfortunately, although the demons evacuated in a hurry, they were obviously prepared. Russell found nothing. After a long time, his cards were searched and returned to his side. Looking at the cards that found nothing, Russell couldn't help but sigh. It seems that I can only dig a hole. Sister Lie, I have to trouble you again. Preparing to dig a hole, Russell naturally couldn't dig vertically. After all, if he really got through, he would appear directly above the group of demons, which would be too eye-catching. Russell would not rush in before knowing the specific strength of this group of demons. He had to find a good place to secretly dig a hole and observe first. Unohanaritsu used the 58th method of binding again. He felt it carefully before saying to Russell, "We have roughly determined their location. They should be halfway up the mountain." Russell nodded and immediately followed Unohanaritsu's instructions to the place halfway up the mountain farthest from the spiritual pressure reaction. "Let's do it." Putting away all the cards, Russell gave the control to Kuang Wang and let it start to dig up the mountain wall in front of it. For this kind of work, it's better to let Kuang Wang work harder. Thinking about the whole digging master module that he has switched to now, Russell actually has some ideas in his heart. He may also be able to produce the drilling cake hand module. After all, what hole is not a hole? Ahem. Putting aside the miscellaneous thoughts in his heart, Russell entered into meditation. The good thing about having a symbiote is that he can relax and fish in peace at times like this. After an unknown amount of time, the hoarse voice of arrogance sounded in his mind. "Russell, we should be digging through soon." Russell opened his eyes and took control. In front of him was a rock wall with a faint light in the gap. Looking at the dark cave behind him that seemed to have no end, Russell responded softly, "Thank you for your hard work, arrogance." Releasing his mental power, Russell felt the situation on the other side of the rock wall. But immediately he frowned. Nothing. Normally, even if he couldn't sense the demons, he should be able to sense the hollow internal structure on the other side. But now in Russell's perception, there was nothing on the other side, just like a normal mountain. It seems that it was a trick played by the demons. No wonder the previous card maker didn't find this underground space. I think the mental power must have been deceived or blocked. Most card makers would not deliberately make reconnaissance cards. After all, the card maker's own mental power is already very useful for exploring intelligence. This time, it was because Unohanaritsu's ghost path had some reconnaissance functions, and these demons did not know the existence of spiritual pressure, otherwise Russell would not have been able to discover this underground space. Now let's see the true face of these demons. With the slight force of the black and red giant claws, the fragile rock wall in front of Russell was instantly broken. In front of him, there was an unknown being squatting on the ground and staring at him blankly, with ears of some unknown animal on his head. Russell was also stunned. He did not expect that he would encounter a demon when he came out. The demon in front of him, who was of unknown species, hurriedly tried to pull up his pants and opened his mouth to shout. The next moment, a black and red giant hand tightly pinched his mouth. The face of the unknown demon was now covered with fear. The physiological instinct that had been unstoppable gushed out. "Now I say, your answer, and if you understand, blink your eyes." Russell's devilish whisper sounded in the demon's ear. The eyes of the unknown demon blinked rapidly. Russell gradually loosened the giant hand that was pinching the demon's mouth. Just as Russell was about to ask, the look on the demon's face instantly changed from fear to hatred and anger. However, just as the demon was about to shout, The black and red liquid had already flowed into his body through his open mouth. The demon covered his throat in pain, staring at Russell in disbelief. He didn't expect a creature in front of him to react so quickly. Extract the gene module, scent gland generation. Scent gland generation, it can condense special organs, scent glands, in the body. After having scent glands, the creature can spray out gases with toxins and confusing abilities through its own excretion ports. Note, this gas is ineffective against creatures with the same organs. Sensing that the arrogant card in his mind had been updated, Russell finally took action in the demon's horrified eyes. Hey, isn't it better to be obedient? The black and red giant hand pinched the demon's head again. Arrogant, how was your observation just now? No problem. Hearing the arrogant answer, Russell crushed the demon in his hand, which was no longer useful, expressionlessly. It was indeed a bit unprepared for Russell to encounter the demon right after leaving the cave, but this also gave him the opportunity to blend into the demon group. With the operation of the arrogant, Russell's bones and muscles squirmed, and gradually changed into the appearance of the demon just now. Change body. Regardless of the original body shape of the host, the symbiote can change the shape and size of the host as needed, and can also change its color and texture, so that it can blend into the environment in the form of camouflage. The ability of the arrogant that has never been used in the safe environment of the hinterland of the Ming Dynasty finally came into play at this time. The silver level red card arrogant disguise. Russell is confident that most of the silver level can't see through it except for the gold level. After Russell changed into the dirty clothes of the demon without changing his expression, he put away the newly obtained black iron level biological material, half-human weasel, blue, and threw the corpse and his clothes into the cave he crawled out of. After using the soil and rocks produced by the previous excavation to seal the cave entrance and clean up the scene, Russell was ready to leave. After entering this underground space, Russell has been covering his own mental power in a small area around him. The main reason was that this group of demons clearly knew about the existence of the card maker's spiritual power. Russell was afraid that if he continued to investigate recklessly, it would easily expose his own existence. At this moment, a rough voice came from a distance. Wang Mei, why are you taking so long to take a shit? If you're listening to this novel on a channel other than Fanfic World, it means they downloaded and uploaded it without effort. We cordially invite you to visit our channel, Mundo Fanfic Novelist. There you'll find the original version of this story and you can explore many other novels of various genres. We're waiting for you to immerse yourself in a world of incredible novels. Chapter 123 Blending In. There are companions, Russell thought to himself. But think about it, which normal demon would poop in such a remote place? And the demon's behavior just now was obviously to inform his companions. After tidying up his clothes, Russell held up his pants and pretended to be just done, and hurriedly ran towards the source of the sound. Why do you run so far to the toilet? Russell couldn't help muttering. But it was fortunate that the demon ran so far, otherwise he would be exposed as soon as he entered this underground space. After a while, Russell saw 4 humanoid creatures standing or sitting in a simple sentry post, with ears on their heads that were the same as the previous demons. Fortunately, the place where Russell came out was behind a large mound of earth, and this simple sentry post could not see the situation behind. In addition, the demons in front of him were just slacking off, so what Russell had just done was not exposed. Just as Russell was about to approach, one of the male demons with a strong figure stopped him. Stop. You took a shit and took away the rules. Russell stopped in his tracks, and his mind flashed through his mind. Rules? What rules? That demon didn't say anything. Because of the demon's uncooperativeness, Russell was completely clueless about the situation in front of him. Seeing that the demon's faces gradually became unfriendly, Russell's right hand hidden behind his back was gradually turning black and red. What's that smell? Just as Russell was about to take action, a faint stench in the air caught his attention. Suddenly, he remembered the gene module that Quang Wang had extracted from the demon before. Give it a try. If it doesn't work, kill them all. Russell looked at the demons in front of him without any emotion in his eyes. In his perception, the strongest among them was only a bronze-level demon. If he wanted to take action, he was confident that he could deal with the targets in front of him within a few seconds. However, these demons were obviously ordered to garrison here. With so many people dying at once, his identity would definitely not be useful. While thinking, Russell switched the module to Stinkland Generation. A stream of yellow gas instantly gushed out. The fishy stench instantly filled the air. Seeing this, The atmosphere that had gradually become tense eased instantly. The leading strong man said with a look of surprise, "Why is it so slow? This is not like the speed at which you usually use your abilities." The bet was right. Russell was happy in his heart, and a sheepish smile appeared on his face. "My stomach is still a little uncomfortable. I'm afraid there is something mixed in it." The four demons froze when they heard Russell's words, held their breath silently, and quietly moved away from him a few steps. The leading strong man's eyes twitched, and he said, "Hold on for a while. Today is our Wong family's turn to be on duty. It's time to change shift soon. It's just that we are unlucky. Master Wong Kong sent us to this remote place. If you ask me, just guard an entrance. Aren't they just some creatures from the outside world? Are you so scared?" At this time, a demon quietly pulled the corner of the strong man's clothes. The strong man paused, and then continued, "Oh, I forgot, Wong Mei, your parents died at the hands of those creatures. Sorry." Hearing this, several demons around the strong man pretended not to hear and began to look around. Russell looked at the sincere strong man in front of him, and couldn't tell whether the other party had malice towards the demon who had been shot in the head, or was really a big nerve. But no matter which one it was, it didn't matter to him now. After all, his purpose was just to blend into this group of demons. If this strong man really came to provoke him, then find an opportunity to kill him. However, the words of the strong man did provide Russell with an important piece of information, that is, his current identity is that of an unlucky guy whose parents have both passed away, which makes it easier for him to act in the future. Russell immediately showed a generous expression. "It's okay, you didn't mean it." Just as the strong man opened his mouth to speak, 5 demons with completely different appearances from Russell and his friends came here. Why do I say that? Because the ears of the newcomers are round and furry. You can tell at a glance that they are of a different species from Russell and his friends. "It's time to change shifts, you can go." The strong man didn't waste any words and led Russell and his friends out of the sentry post. This underground space is very large. Russell saw several sentry posts on the way, but he didn't reach the end. The atmosphere of the demons along the way was also dead, and no one was ready to speak to liven up the atmosphere. Seeing this situation, Russell naturally wouldn't speak rashly. After all, he had no idea what his current identity was like. The more you talk, the more mistakes you make. Anyway, if the original owner's personality was more eccentric, he could just say that he was upset and didn't want to talk. While Russell was thinking silently, the sturdy man stopped. In front of Russell was a huge metal door with an unknown magic circle drawn on it. There were many tents next to the metal door. Fortunately, I didn't enter from the entrance. With such a large metal door, Russell would have been exposed if he pushed it open. At this time, there were many demons standing in front of the metal door that looked exactly like Russell. A middle-aged male demon on the high platform glanced indifferently at the sturdy team that had just arrived, and said, "Everyone is here, let's go back." Seeing the middle-aged male demon, Russell's pupils suddenly shrank. Silver level. He didn't expect that he would meet a silver level so soon. Russell speculated that this silver level demon was the Lord Wong Kong mentioned by the sturdy man. Now that Wong Kong was obviously going to leave with them, Russell didn't think there would be other silver level demons next to the metal door. There are so many silver level guards at just one entrance. Is this the true strength of the secret realm? And the secret realm is in a situation where the high-end combat power has been completely destroyed. No wonder Senior Brother Lee told me to be careful. The danger of high-level secret realms is beyond Russell's expectations. However, higher risk means high return. Even if these silver levels are all fake goods, this number is enough for Russell to exchange for a set of good silver-level materials from Mr. Wang. Gradually, a large area of simple houses appeared in Russell's eyes. At this time, a young male demon and an old man were standing on the main road. Wong Kong saw this and hurried to meet them. The old man whispered a few words in Wong Kong's ear, and he turned to look at where Russell was. "Wongda, come here." The strong man was stunned, and honestly walked up to Wong Kong. Russell only then knew that the strong man's name was Wongda. In front, Wongda was tense and stretched straight on the ground. The old man said with a smile, "Don't be nervous, I called you here to ask if there is anything unusual in the area you are stationed in today." Wongda thought for a moment, then swallowed and said, "No, we didn't find anything unusual today." However, the next moment, the old man's words made his heart stop. Really? Then how did the barrier get triggered? Chapter 124 Chicken soup is here. Wang Da's mind was blank at this time, and his heart was full of doubts. How could the barrier be triggered? Ignoring the doubts in his heart, Wang Da stammered, "Old ancestor, we really didn't find anything unusual." The old man narrowed his eyes gradually when he heard this. "Tell me what happened during your stay." All. Wang Da swallowed his saliva, thinking to himself, if the laziness is exposed, I will definitely be in trouble. In fact, it's not just them, most teams will be lazy. It's just that the people above turn a blind eye when nothing happens, but when something happens, thinking of the bloody rules of the tribe before the advent, Wang Da couldn't help shuddering. "The ancestor asked you to speak, didn't you hear it?" Wang Kong's cold voice sounded beside Wang Da. Hearing this, Wang Da's body stiffened, and he began to talk about what happened during his team's stay in the Sentry Tower. Of course, he must have slightly beautified the laziness. But the young man next to the old man couldn't help but frown. Long before he could finish his words, the young man saw the old man glanced at him and quickly swallowed the rest of his words back into his stomach. Just when Wang Da was talking about Wang Mei going out to the toilet alone, the old ancestor suddenly interrupted him. "Which one is Wang Mei?" Wang Da was stunned, turned and pointed in the direction of Russell, and continued, "Wang Mei is fine, I have tested it with a unique method of our race." Wang Kong heard this and was about to say that if that was the case, there would be no problem, but he saw the old man said nothing and just looked at him quietly. Wang Kong felt a little unhappy, but he still understood what he meant. "Wang Mei, come here." Russell, who was behind, was shocked when he heard the original owner's name being called. He only saw Wang Da shaking like a sieve from a distance, mumbling something to the old man. Discovered. Russell's heart was alert, and on the surface, he pretended to be confused and a little panicked and ran to the front of several people. "Master Wang Kong, you called me." Wang Kong nodded slightly. "The old ancestor has something to ask you." Russell glanced calmly at Wang Kong, who had secretly blocked his retreat, turned his head and looked at the old man with a bit of doubt and fear on his face. "Old ancestor." The old man raised his hand to stop Russell's words, and began to look him up and down carefully. Russell pretended to be calm in his uneasiness, thinking silently in his heart, what went wrong? But fortunately, there are not many silver level here at the moment. If it is really exposed, let Lily and Sister Lai help me directly. Russell was confident that as long as he could get out of the side of this group of demons, he could rely on arrogance to sneak in again without anyone noticing. After a long time, just when the atmosphere in the field had dropped to freezing point and Russell was about to call out his card, the old man suddenly said, "How is your family doing recently? Are you dissatisfied with the arrangements of the clan?" Russell sneered in his heart and pretended to be sad. "Ancestor, my parents died at the hands of those scums." Russell's words were also very particular. At present, these demons were obviously transformed into animals, so hateful words such as pigs and beasts could not be used. Hearing Russell's words, a trace of doubt flashed in the old man's eyes. His question just now was to deceive the person in front of him. But Russell responded very well, so he didn't see any flaws at all. Moreover, the old man had just observed for a long time, and the Wang Mei in front of him was indeed a half-transformed weasel. After a moment of silence, the old man waved his hand, "Take all the members of their team away first and keep them well." He was also a little helpless. If it were the previous words, he would just kill them directly if there was any problem. But now that he had just hidden in this underground space, the people in the tribe were in a panic. He was afraid that it would be difficult to convince them if he did this. You know, his position was not as strong as a rock. There were still many people in the tribe who were watching him closely and waiting for him to make a mistake and pull him down. Now these demons still respectfully called him the ancestor. When he fell, he would probably be an old thing. Moreover, the barrier could only determine which area was touched, and there was no more specific information. Otherwise, he would just send people to search. Of course, there was also good news. Since this unknown existence had to sneak in, it meant that the other party would not be too strong. Anyway, it would not be too strong. The old man did not believe that the other party could turn the world upside down under his nose. Wang Kong, who was blocking behind Wang Mei, could not help but feel relieved. After all, the two little demons in front of him were from his family, and it would be best if nothing happened. Come on, take them down. Russell was calm in his heart, knowing that he had passed this level without any danger. But he still pretended to be puzzled like Wang Da, and shouted loudly, "It's unfair, old ancestor." Seeing this, Wang Kong's eyebrows showed helplessness, And he waved his hand to the demons who were dragging several people. Take them away quickly, don't let them embarrass themselves here. It's good enough to be alive. These little demons really can't see the situation clearly. Seeing several people being dragged away, Wong Kong tentatively said to the old man, "Then old ancestor, I will take the remaining little guys back first." The old man nodded expressionlessly and watched the group of weasels go away. After a long silence, the old man's somewhat tired voice sounded in the scene, "It's time, and you are still scheming here. Otherwise, I wouldn't have it so difficult." The young man on the side stomped his feet angrily. "If those families hadn't been eyeing you covetously, I would have just killed those few just now." What the young man said was not what the old man thought in his heart. But helplessly, he couldn't do it. If he did so, I'm afraid that these demons would die faster. Internal strife plus external enemies, it's like adding insult to injury. Since there's not even a window in the dark prison, Russell didn't know how long he had been locked up. Although there is no sun in the underground space. At this time, including Russell, the 5 demons in the dungeon were a little lifeless. After all, no one would be happy to encounter such a thing. Except for Russell, the instigator. Wong Da sighed distressedly, "I don't know when we can get out." Then he cast his eyes on Russell again, with a trace of anger on his face. "Lazy donkeys have a lot of shit and urine on the mill. If it weren't for you, we wouldn't be locked up here." Russell couldn't help but feel helpless when he heard it. "Then you can install a valve on my butt. I can't control this kind of thing." Wong Da was speechless, snorted heavily and ignored Russell. At this time, someone came over with an iron bucket. "It's time for dinner." A neatly dressed demon put a bucket of porridge that couldn't be seen in front of several people. Wong Da swallowed his saliva and said, "Finally it's here. I like this." Hearing this, Russell looked at him in astonishment. He thought that this pig food-like thing was limited to the prison. "Wow, do you usually eat this?" Holding the dirty bowl, Russell got his own rations. Looking at the unknown food in front of him expressionlessly, Russell was ready to give Kuang Wang another hard time. "Kuang Wang, you cover my mouth later, don't let this thing enter my stomach." It's not that Russell disliked the food in his hand, but the man who brought the food was too suspicious. His clothes were neat and tidy, and he didn't look like someone who worked in this dark and damp prison. More importantly, when Russell was taken to the dungeon, he didn't see this man among the guards. Of course, it is also possible that the other party is a shift changer. But Russell would rather be cautious than capsize in the gutter. After excluding all possibilities, it can only mean one thing: the other party is here to kill them. But if Russell was the one in power, he would do the same. Knowing that there was something wrong with his group of people, how could the old man really let them stay in his prison? Kuang Wang wrapped the food silently, while Russell put the empty bowl on the ground and huddled in the corner to watch the situation. Seeing that everyone had finished the food, the person who came to deliver the food showed a look of satisfaction on his face. "Goodbye." The meaningless words rang in the silent prison. Wong Da and the others looked up blankly and looked at the person who suddenly spoke. "What do you mean?" But then, Wong Da seemed to have thought of something. His face changed drastically, and he kept pinching his throat with his index finger. The other demons around him also reacted quickly and did the same thing as him. "It's useless, give up." The food deliverer man grinned maliciously. "This is a highly toxic drug specially prepared for you. As long as it enters your stomach, it will spread into your body. Even if you want to ask for help, you can't make a sound." Then, he cast his eyes on Russell, who was huddled in the corner and motionless. At this time, Russell's face was shrouded in shadows, making it difficult for the demon to see his expression. "Why are you not like them?" the demon asked Russell curiously, but he didn't get a response. "Strange? Is it dead? Is the drug taking effect so quickly?" Out of caution, he decided to go in and observe the silent weasel to prevent the other party from pretending to be dead and trying to get away with it. However, when he approached Russell, he was shocked. In the darkness, Russell's eyes without a trace of emotion were looking at him quietly. The food delivery man felt a little angry and wanted to kick Russell immediately. "What the hell, dare to scare me?" However, his right foot, which he kicked hard, was tightly grasped by a black and red giant hand. "What?" Before the panicked voice came out, the demon's face was covered by Russell's other hand. A violent struggle came from Russell's hand, but he just silently waited for Kuang Wang to finish the job. After a while, Kuang Wang's voice sounded in Russell's mind. "It's solved, Russell. Russell asked Kuang Wang to send the food that he had just not eaten to the stomach of the food delivery person. Seeing that Kuang Wang had done the job, Russell held the food delivery person in one hand and looked at Wang Da and his men who had fallen to the ground in pain. Wang Da and his men were not far from dying. Despite this, they still saw clearly what Russell had done. Woo woo. Wang Da rolled uncontrollably on the dirty ground, his eyes full of disbelief and regret. He had never thought that this Wang Mei was actually problematic. Perhaps he thought of it, but for the purpose of preserving himself, he did not express his doubts. But despite all his regrets, his life gradually came to an end. Seeing that the few people were silent, Russell was relieved to bring the food delivery person in front of him. The food delivery person was full of fear at this time. He didn't expect that he was just following orders to complete such a simple task, but he actually encountered a great white shark in the stinky ditch. "You are almost dead, arrogant, you can do it." In the horrified eyes of the food delivery person, the black and red liquid penetrated into his body. Then, he felt his muscles and bones were constantly squirming. Until the end, his appearance was completely different. Just like Wang Mei before. "In order not to be exposed, I can only let you die for me." A hoarse and low voice sounded beside his ears. The consciousness of the food delivery person gradually fell into darkness until there was no sound. The gene module, Pig Rush, has been extracted. Pig Rush, when you sprint at full speed, you will become faster and stronger, and your defense will be improved, but in contrast, your flexibility will be greatly reduced. This module is not bad. Russell checked the latest module extracted by Arrogant and nodded with satisfaction. After removing the Arrogant form, he swapped his clothes with those of the person delivering the meal. Then, under the effect of arrogance, he turned into the appearance of the person delivering the meal. He collected the materials obtained from several demons, namely, the black iron level biological material, half-humanized weasel, blue, 4, the bronze level, humanized weasel, blue, and the bronze level, humanized pig spirit, blue. After collecting the materials, Russell couldn't help but muttered, "After this is over, it's time to make a storage type card." Then he straightened his sleeves and showed a wicked smile on his face. "I didn't expect that the protagonist of the horror story I read in my previous life would become me. It's just that I'm the protagonist of the horror side." After collecting the bowl, Russell picked up the iron bucket on the ground and walked towards the dungeon exit. On the way, he also saw the dungeon guard he had seen when he came here, but now, the other party has fallen into coma. Ignoring the unconscious guard, Russell walked straight out of the dungeon. "Is the matter done?" A cold voice sounded beside Russell. Russell nodded without changing his expression and looked at the demon who spoke. The demon was dressed the same as Russell now, but his appearance was slightly different. "Then Zuliu, you stay outside and I'll go in to check." After saying that, the unknown demon turned and went into the dungeon. Russell was lost in thought. Should I run away first? Forget it, let's see what this demon is going to do first. It's not easy to change my identity. Russell was not particularly worried about whether his actions would be discovered. After all, the cause of death of the food delivery personnel was eating the poisonous food, and their appearance was the same as Wang Mei before. As long as Wang Mei was not dissected, no one should find anything wrong. Not long after, the demon just now walked out of the dungeon. "No problem, let's go. The master is still waiting for us." Chapter 125 I'm about to become the boss, Osir. Russell followed a demon in front of him silently. The dim light source set on the top of the underground space sprinkled on the ground. A man and a demon just quietly shuttled through the dark alley. After a long time, the demon, who should be a pig spirit, stopped in front of a small door. Dow dow dow. A crisp knock on the door sounded in the silent alley. "Who?" "I'm done." After a brief question and answer, the small door was opened from the inside. "Come in quickly, the master is waiting for you." Russell followed the pig spirit and quickly flashed into the small door. What appeared in front of him was a beautiful back garden. "You rich dog, you are so extravagant when you take refuge," Russell silently complained in his heart. Seeing that the pig spirit had no intention of stopping, Russell hurriedly followed. After a while, the two came to the outside of a study. "Master, we are back," the demon in front of Russell shouted into the study in a neither loud nor low voice. "Come in." Pushing the door open, Russell saw a demon who had not yet gotten rid of his childish aura. It was not the old man or the young man next to the old man as he imagined. Russell frowned slightly. He always felt that something was wrong. The young demon put away the book in his hand, and looked at Russell and the others with an inexplicable light flashing in his narrow eyes. How is the matter going? The pig spirit, who was kneeling on one knee in front of the young demon, replied respectfully, it was handled very cleanly, and it is guaranteed that people can't tell that it was done by our pig family. Russell, who was standing aside, could only lower his head and listen to the conversation between the two because he didn't know the specific situation. Hearing this, the young demon nodded with satisfaction, and then said with a little distress, I have another worry, Pig 5 and Pig 6, what do you think we should do? Pig 5 immediately replied with a hint of enthusiasm, as long as the adults have the order, Pig 5 will not dare to disobey. Russell also immediately replied, I am willing to go through fire and water for the adults. Very good. The young demon's voice suddenly became louder. Ding-ling-dang-dang. 2 daggers flashing with cold light were thrown in front of Russell and the other two, making a crisp sound. Then please die for me. The study room fell into silence in an instant. Just when Russell was about to kill someone, Zhu Wu beside him hesitated for a moment, then decisively picked up the dagger and stabbed it into his heart. No, buddy, are you really going to commit suicide? Russell looked at Zhu Wu beside him in shock. He didn't expect that the other party would actually commit suicide obediently. Zhu Wu spit out a large mouthful of blood from his mouth, and said intermittently, it is my honor to die for you, sir. Then, he died. After being shocked, Russell fell into thought. What? Zhu Liu? You don't want to die. The voice of the young demon sounded beside Russell's ears. Looking up, Russell saw the face of the young demon full of malice. After a moment of silence, Russell picked up the dagger on the ground and stabbed it into his heart. Seeing that the 5 and 6 pigs in front of him had committed suicide, the young demon was relieved and shouted to the window, anyone, go and call the butler Zhu Wuzi. Not long after, a middle-aged demon walked into the study. He glanced at the 2 corpses on the ground without leaving a trace, and said expressionlessly, young master, you are looking for me. The young demon, who was called the young master, said nonchalantly, butler, please help me deal with these 2 corpses, and be careful not to let anyone notice them. The middle-aged demon couldn't help but frowned. I hope the young master will tell me what happened. The young demon looked at him coldly. Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. The middle-aged demon bowed his hands when he heard it. I'm sorry, I can't do it. A trace of anger appeared on the young demon's face. Zhu Wuzi, you are just a dog raised by the master, and you are qualified to take care of my affairs. Even though the middle-aged demon was pointed at his nose and scolded, he still stood there without changing his face. Seeing this, the young demon took a few deep breaths to suppress the anger in his heart, and then he told the whole story with a bad face. Who would have thought that the middle-aged demon's face changed several times after hearing this, and he wanted to say something but stopped. After a heavy sigh, he bent down to check the sound of the 2. Seeing that the 2 had been dead for a long time, Zhu Wuzi shouted outside the house, pig shit, pig urine, come in. Then he turned to the young demon and said, don't worry, young master, I will deal with it. As the 2 servants who looked like demons entered the study, Zhu Wuzi said, you 2, help me carry it. The 2 servants had already trembled when they saw the appearance in the study. But under the gaze of the young master and the butler, the 2 still held on and carried Russell and the other 2 out. Then I'll go and deal with it first, young master. Zhu Wuzi said stiffly to the young demon, and then left the study without looking back. The young demon stared at Zhu Wuzi's back with a gloomy look. This old pig, one day my father will kill him. That's it, thank you for your hard work. Zhu Wuzi suddenly said in a forest. It's not hard, it's not hard. The 2 servants replied somewhat flattered. However, the next moment, their necks were broken by a thick arm. It's a pity that no one can know about this, so I have to ask you to die together. Zhu Wuzi's faint voice sounded in the forest. Hey, this stupid father and son, they have to ruin the Zhu family to be happy. If the old man and the others hadn't died in the battle, it wouldn't be the turn of these idiots like the Branch family. As if to vent his depression, Zhu Wuzi exerted force on his feet, and a deep pit appeared on the ground in an instant. Just when Zhu Wuzi turned around and prepared to kick several corpses into the deep pit, something strange happened. Can you tell me in detail? Big Guan family. A hoarse voice that seemed to come from hell sounded behind him. Who is it? Zhu Wuzi turned around instantly. At this moment, in his eyes, the body of Zhu Liu on the ground had disappeared. Instead, there was a huge black and red monster. The next moment, the black and red monster had come to him and pinched his head. Looking at the shock in Zuwazi's eyes, Russell laughed with satisfaction. Finally, I have an identity that can facilitate my actions. Zuwazi instantly thought of what the young master said, and the look in his eyes gradually changed from shock to fear. Arrogant, thank you for your hard work. As Russell spoke, the black and red liquid instantly submerged Zuwazi. Extracted gene module, Sharp Fangs. Sharp Fangs, equipping this module can generate indestructible fangs. As the muscles squirmed, Russell gradually turned into the appearance of Zuwazi. End of this chapter. Thank you very much for reaching the end. Don't forget to like. Looking for more exclusive content and immediate access? Subscribe to our Patreon. Remember, every like, subscription, or donation encourages us to continue. Thanks to everyone. See you in the next video.